Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Hollywood After Dark, episode number 20. Today, of course, is the 10th of July, 2021, and apparently DC Black has forgotten Batman's dick controversy, as well as Nintendo BTFO's Zelda Hacker. That and more tonight here on Hollywood After Dark. Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing tonight? My name is Matt Gerber. Welcome to the show. I'm joined by my buddy RJ. How you doing, RJ?
Doing pretty good, Matt. Doing pretty good. So what, you're telling me DC got blacked?
I'm telling you, no. All things considered, DC did not get blacked. Were you just like holding on to that joke? You're like, yes.
Yes, I was.
For those of you who aren't familiar with blacked.com, apparently RJ is. Which now puts a whole bunch of stuff in perspective. That just answers so many questions that I have. No, I'm kidding. It's kind of the opposite of that. This is kind of one of those situations very similar to how DC said heroes don't do that when it comes to Batman eating the clam. And this is one of those situations where it's like also Batman doesn't have partial full frontal male nudity. So that's kind of what this whole thing boils down to. It's a pretty funny situation in and of itself. And I accidentally deleted my banner for this year. Hold on, let me just kind of fix it here. All right. Screw it. Follow me on Twitter. There we go. I got to rewrite a new one later on because I deleted it like a moron. Anyway, it's been an interesting day for me. I actually took the family. We went up to the top of the peninsula in Washington to a small little coastal town and just spent the afternoon there with the kids and my dad and my stepmom, which was a lot of fun. And
yeah, it sounds like a pleasant Saturday afternoon.
It was very pleasant. Yeah. Like I wanted to hang out. Like I was like, oh, maybe I'll like get a chance to watch movies tonight or something. And no, that did not happen. So I'm like, all right, I'll go live. But it was a nice, relaxing day. Here's the thing. I totally spaced because I drove. I had my phone on airplane mode the entire time. I had no idea. I'm like, man, why isn't I'm not getting like any notifications? Finally dawns on me that like for the last 3 hours I had my phone on airplane mode. Didn't know anything. I was like, all right,
yeah.
But that's actually okay. That's actually a good thing. If your phone is like, if you forget that you have your phone on you and you forget to check it every 5 minutes to see what's happening on Twitter.
Yeah, it's good to get away sometimes. Take a break from everything.
Although I did get a call today from a friend of ours who happens to be at a very specific event in Pennsylvania. Our friend Mad Max the Mandalorian.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He called me to brag. I think, well, not to brag, but like it's a humble brag. If you want to look at it like that he played the Amico.
Yeah, a lot of people got to play at that event they just had today. So
yeah, well, no, he played it yesterday too. He got to play it early, and then he played it. I think he's playing it again tonight, and he really seems to like the Amico, which is interesting because I'm like, okay. Nothing about it seems appealing to me because I'm also not the target demographic. Mm-hmm. And I'm fine with that. I mean, like, I'll check out videos of it or whatever. And I like Max and I trust Max, and our friend Saggy is there as well. So they got to check it out, which is great. I just thought it was funny that he called me to like talk about it.
Right. It's like, did he call you like 2 a.m. again, or what was it?
No. He called me at like 2 p.m, or well, it would have been later on the East Coast time. But I was like at a pizzeria, like getting pizza with my family. I had just stepped away for a second and I saw that he had called. And I'm like, all right, I got a minute, call him back. But I'm really happy that he got to go and do that. But I'll tell you what I'm not happy about. So for those people who come to the stream often, at the end of the month, I am going to be giving away a copy of this Life magazine, 40 Years Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones magazine. It's a really cool magazine. Going to be giving one of those away to people who donate super chats or become a channel member or patron. And I wanted to find something else that was cool. So there's a bookstore there. There's this used bookstore in the town. And in the front window, as I was walking by, they had this Super Mario Brothers encyclopedia. And I thought, this would be really cool to give away because it's something that's like just totally different. And then I had passed by it thinking, you know what? It will be there in like 20 minutes. I go back like an hour later, gone. Somebody already bought it. So I go into the bookstore and I'm trying to find like the gaming section, and the thing is, this whole thing was really, really difficult to kind of navigate. And I was also like in a very tight like schedule to get the hell out of there. And I ultimately didn't find if they had any more copies. But like this guy, I realized that this guy was like selling everything at like MSRP prices, and this is a used bookstore. He's selling everything at like the actual MSRP price. And I'm like, yeah, I'm paying that for a used bookstore, So I'm like, okay, cool. I'll go look for this online and see if I can get it anywhere else. But I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, looking around at some of these places, some of these online bookstores, or some of these used bookstores, you do come across some pretty cool, like movie-based memorabilia. Like they did have, and it was $30 and I almost bought it. It was the art book for Grindhouse.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Of Planet Terror and Death Proof.
Oh, it's like a book like combining both of those movies.
Yeah, it would have been combining both films because it was since it was a double feature experience.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, that'd be really cool because I always enjoyed those movies, and I loved the artwork and I loved what went into making them and whatnot. And it just got me thinking about like how when I do audio commentary and I look at some of these stories, like oftentimes what I pull from is information that is gleaned from like the books about the making of these movies. And so it's like there are some cool ones you can find. Like when I talked about the Fifth Element, the making of that was all pretty much pulled from this book. This book is out of print. It's about $1,000 on Amazon if you want to get a copy of it. And I'm like looking on I'm like tracking certain thrift websites to see if it ever pops up, and hopefully get it for a lot cheaper than $1,000.
Right.
Because as much as I love the Fifth Element, I'm not going to spend $1,000 on the making of a book.
Yeah, it's just like way too much.
Yeah, but that's a lot of those things. Like even looking at like the making of the Blair Witch Project, for example. Like I found that book as well as like the tie-in comics on like thriftbooks.com for pretty cheap. And like I remember back in the day, like yeah, because I'm that old. But like back in the day, like the early days of like eBay, there was another
back
website.
In my day.
Back in my time when we wanted to buy things, we went to message boards and we found local sellers.
Remember Borders? Remember that bookstore?
Yeah. They always charged way too much. There's still a Barnes and Noble like literally down the road from me. So like there is a Barnes and Noble down the road. I've lived here for 4 years. I've been there one time. But the thing is, Barnes and Noble, like I'm a sucker for Barnes and Noble because they've got all of those like severely, heavily discounted areas. And so I like to find like reference books, like if they have anything on conspiracy theories or like demons or like I like that weird shit. I'm really drawn to that weird shit. And I just happen to like those kind of stories because I don't believe like, a single fucking word of them. But I think it's cool nonetheless to kind of like just see what the human mind can conjure in these particular scenarios. And so that to me was really funny, just going to those stores. So, but anyway, like, I want to start picking up more of these books about the making of film, especially because I'm trying to get back into doing audio commentary. And I think learning about the history of it is going to be more of like the fun part of it for me. Because like I look around now and it's like, what's the news of the day, right? Like really, it's like, hey, Greta Gerwig is doing a Barbie movie.
Yeah, Margot Robbie is playing Barbie, so.
But that's not unknown.
No, it's not unknown. No, you're right.
And it's not unknown, and it's also one of those things where you've got what is it? You've got well, at least it's not Amy Schumer anymore because it was Amy Schumer.
Oh God, yeah, that would have been horrible.
Amy Schumer was I should maybe do a standalone video on this, like what we know about the Barbie movie. It's like originally Amy Schumer was going to be in it as a fat Barbie who was kind of ostracized for being a fat Barbie. I'm not even kidding you. Like I'm not even kidding you.
Speaking of making of books, actually, I just forgot I ordered this on Amazon. I put it in the private chat. They're actually doing the story of Marvel Studios book coming out in October. It's like a
Oh,
2 volume set detailing the
hold on.
making of each movie.
I'll bring it up. I haven't even tackled the Marvel Cinematic Universe yet, by the way. I haven't tackled that like anything in there. I've been doing like Zack Snyder movies because like I figure that's like a lot of what my audience is right now. Never
Yeah.
mind like all of the fact that like I love kind of going in and bursting those bubbles. Like even our friend William tonight was over on Dave Pena's the Film Junkies patron stream, and I tuned in, and he was on the same tirade about Discovery and David Zaslav and like Justice League 2 is gonna happen, but not for. I'm like, dude, oh my, like it's the same. I love William, but it's like the same conversation. You know,
True, but
like
it is talking to someone who covers that stuff predominantly. Film Junkie is one of the
no,
big
oh no,
faces
he
of that
does. Oh,
movement.
oh yeah, no, totally, totally. And I love Dave. Dave knows I like him quite a bit. I just thought it was pretty funny because he's like, yeah, yeah. Well, I think he was kind of like, maybe we'll get other things down the road a little bit. I think people are kind of like not wanting to fully acknowledge that it maybe isn't happening as soon as they want it to. But there's always like leaving it open for more down the road, which is great.
Yeah.
But this looks pretty cool. So how much
Yeah,
was
there's
this on
pictures,
Amazon?
there's pictures at the bottom. I think it's like 130, but it's like 2 thick volumes of books. Like if you notice right there, it's
Jeez.
2 volumes for like each movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a gallery of pictures at the very end. You can look and see what it looks like
Okay.
in detail.
So this is like okay. Yeah. Wow.
Those are the covers, I think.
The
Yeah, it has
story.
a prologue by Kevin Feige, and then Robert Downey Jr. writes something at the very end.
Okay.
It looks really cool.
And afterward by Robert Downey Jr. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see people are upset like that? Because you know how we were talking about what if,
Mhm.
and one of my friends tonight was posting about it on Twitter, and he's like, how can people be upset that like the budget for the show is going to be lower? So of course he didn't get Robert Downey Jr. or Chris Evans, and I'm like, yeah, but in the when they originally pitched it, they had said it was going to be everybody. So there's
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's like right now it's on. I think it's like 140 MSRP, but I think on Amazon I got it for like 130. So
Okay, yeah, this is the abramsbooks.com website where you can pre-order this thing. It looks really cool. Like I probably won't. It's like 150 right here from Abrams Books.
yeah, I got it for much cheaper than that. I only got it
Yeah.
for like 135 with X.
Look at that. Look at the Hulk right there. Like they've got the
Yeah.
image of oh there we go.
Oh yeah,
Oh, Taika is doing that right there. Okay.
that's cool. Yeah, I just love seeing behind the scenes like photos like this too. I feel like it's gonna be a lot of exclusive stuff we've never seen before. A lot of like interesting details and notes. It just looks like a really neat collection. If you really want to dive into the making of these movies and like the process behind them.
Yeah, I mean this is pretty cool right here, where it's like whoever is it Brolin
Yeah,
as
it's
Thanos,
Brolin.
and then he's got like the little like cardboard, cut out above his head for the eye line to look for Loki to look at. It's just that's pretty cool actually. I might need to pick this up.
Yeah, they got
Just
some
to-
like model pictures of like the Iron Man suits, like they are conceiving them, and they got Chris Evans right there. They did the CGI.
Wow, they gave him a breast reduction surgery in these images. I mean, like,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
well, I mean, you've got like him at the bottom there, and then it's that's the movie, and then whoever the actor is that played the body double, and then you got Chris Evans with this like solid B cup, and you're like, like I always thought that was really. Like this is just the lighting totally illuminating
Now,
the
question
cleavage.
though: is this going to be the same case for Peggy Carter and What If?
Don't get my hopes up, RJ. Don't get my hopes up. All right. I don't think Haley Atwell does nudity. I've looked, but
Actually, that's not true. Didn't she get nude in Black Mirror?
no, but it was close.
Oh, that's right. It was close.
It was close and oddly erotic. I will say that. Like when she's having sex with that robot, and it was Domhnall Gleeson of all things. Like it was Dom. No. She has sex with no. That was still when he was human. That was before he died because that's when she got pregnant.
Mm.
And then she had sex with the robot, and that was weird. I'm just saying it was a weird episode. It's like the episode, the story of you.
Mm.
right? Where like people can like flash back to whatever they want. And there's a shot where like the guy is having sex with Doctor Who, the new Jodie Whittaker, and they both have like they both are going back to previous experiences and reliving those experiences while they're intimate with each other. Like that was a very interesting shot in the show, because you're looking at that and you're like, man, like that's like how many people would actually do that? You know? Like how many people would actually sit there and if you had the ability to go back and look at yourself, like re-experience like sound, not feeling, but definitely sound and visual, like that's just kind of weird. It's like that's such a weird thing.
Yeah. I noticed with the book though, just going back to that, I don't think it talks about the TV shows. Sadly, I think it only goes up to Far From Home, I think, or Black Widow. I'm not for sure, but yeah, like I said, it looks really cool. It says kind of like some exclusive details and artwork and stuff, so definitely something to get it to buy and get if you're really into like the making of these movies.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty hold on. Let's because you got me thinking about the entire history of you. That's the name of that episode of Black Mirror. And the reason why it kind of ties in what we're talking about is back in 2013 when that episode premiered, they ended up Robert Downey Jr. and his production company optioned it.
Oh, they did. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they optioned it to be they wanted to adapt it into a film. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like that was kind of like that was super weird, you know? But that's kind of like what like I'll bring up the image here because again, like a lot of people they look at this entire situation of like the intimacy from this movie and this for people who haven't seen it, this is not even much of a spoiler because it's an old episode. But this is them like having sex, right? And you can see their eyes are glossed over because that's like the little implant, the neural implant that they have, and they're both just reliving a past experience, and it's probably not with each other. And that's the thing is like that kind of that moment right there like freaked a lot of people out because it hits so close to reality.
Right.
And that's the fascinating thing about Black Mirror is like it really does a good job in tackling things that are close to reality.
Yeah, I don't know why it kind of made me think of like Mass Effect with like the aura and stuff. You know, like it's kind of like a sexual experience, but it's more like the mending of the minds, kind of. You know,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
can be physical, but it doesn't have to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like sex is like mostly 90% mental anyway, you know? I mean, a lot of people like here's the thing with that, and this is kind of an off-topic thing, but like really, when it comes to like intimacy with a partner, a lot of it's mental. There's the physical act that obviously will get to the means to an end sort of thing, but to get like the true experience, it's all a mental thing. And especially if you're a dude with a woman, it's like you got to get her mentally there, and you're golden. If guys are kind of like there's a great line in Clerks, insert into a warm place, preferably wet, thrust, repeat. And that's like basically that's like the core concept of it. But there is this like emotional connection that enhances it a lot more. And a lot of people out there, and I think honestly Tinder has like kind of destroyed a bit of that, which is why like I would find like if they were actually going to adapt it, because it's been 8 years since that was optioned, and clearly Robert Downey Jr. and his production company have done nothing with it. So I would assume at this point the option rights have probably returned back to Charlie Brooker. Or Booker, whoever was the writer. I think that was him who wrote that too. So the rights would have returned back to him. He still would have gotten paid for the optioning rights, but those rights would have returned because there's really no reason, But and I'm like, man, that would be like a really solid like lower budget sci-fi Netflix film. And I'm telling you, and maybe you agree, maybe you won't agree, but like right now, when it comes to like movies that are gonna like maybe kind of reignite cinema or something, like the lower budget, mid-budget horror sci-fi movies, I think would really do it. I really do. I think they would really do it.
I think the mid-range, mid-budget movie, the smaller scale, like these more intimate stories are like badly needed right now. I think they're the kind of things that like can invigorate creativity and really like cinema as a whole, if that makes sense, you know?
Yeah, because they can teach us about the unknown, so to speak, and they can teach us about, like, they can also play upon our fears, because that's generally what this stuff is in the first place. It's all about just kind of capitalizing on our fears and playing into into what we already don't like, you know. And that's the reason why it's like a lot of people are inherently afraid of the dark, and so when they're afraid of the dark, anything that has to do with being outside alone at night will just mess with them more, because their head is just messing with them. And I think to a lot of people, you know, when it comes to horror, it's like, well, what are you afraid of? Are you afraid of aliens? Are you afraid of monsters? Are you afraid of serial killers? Are you afraid of clowns? Are you afraid of talking dolls? Are you afraid of this or that or this or that? And then they really do,
Ghosts.
yeah, ghosts, you know. And so it's like when I was a kid, I remember like one of the scariest movies I saw when I was a kid was this movie called Dolls, right? And it's have you ever heard of that one?
It sounds familiar. I don't think I've actually watched it though.
It's like it's an old like it's like an old 1980, yes, a 1987 film.
Oh, Stuart Gordon directed it.
What did he do?
I believe he worked on From Beyond and ReAnimator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which are classic horror H.P. Lovecraft stories.
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay, I guess so. I mean, the thing is, this is nothing like that, to be honest with you.
Oh, so it's not like From Beyond or ReAnimator?
No, it's a very simple. The thing is, here's the poster for it. I saw this movie when I was a kid. My cousin like held like a horror movie night, and so he got like a whole bunch of other like kids from our class, because we were like the same age, to come on over. And so we all hung out, we all watched this movie, and it scared the piss out of me when I was a kid. Because it's very simple. It's, you know, father, stepmother, daughter. Stepmother doesn't like the daughter. Father's just a cuck. And they break down, and like, I think it was like the English countryside, and they end up like going into this house to seek shelter. And another couple of hookers break down. Seriously, they're hookers or they're party girls or whatever. They break down. And so a whole bunch of people are in this house, but the house is full of dolls. And the dolls all start to come to life. And they all start killing everybody.
Jeez.
Like, I mean, at one point, like, they even have like the little like cannon soldiers, and they like shoot one of the hookers. And then she pulls off her belt, and she's all like, "I'll get you." So she starts like bashing him with her belt, because she's like one of those like heavy studded rocker belts from the 80s. And then as she's like breaking him open, you find out that they're people. Like, they're people. They're shrunk down people.
Oh, that's the twist. That
That's the twist. Yeah. And that's the twist. And that's like
so
the whole thing.
real people become the dolls.
Yeah. Like, I forget exactly how it happens, but like a few years ago, it was on Netflix. And one Halloween, my girlfriend and I watched it, and I was like laughing my ass off all the way through, because I'm like, oh my God, this isn't even scary. But when I was a kid, it scared the crap out of me. The same with Sleepaway Camp 3, which is the only movie in that franchise that I've seen, is Sleepaway Camp 3.
You haven't seen Sleepaway Camp 1?
No, I haven't seen. Which one?
The first one.
No, I know the twist at the end of the movie.
It's pretty infamous. Yes,
it is infamous. But I'll tell you what's even more fascinating about that, and this is what I miss about old school box art. Right. So let me see if I can find it. Sleepaway Camp VHS Box Art, because it's yeah. So you can, hopefully it's a big enough image. Yeah. This is big. Great, this will work out. So for me, when I was a kid, I loved like, and I still do, I love box art for movies, right? Especially horror movies, because I feel they're the most fun. And when we're watching this one, Sleepaway Camp, so you've got like the front part here, right? The knife through the shoe and everything. But then on the back, instead of giving like a standard synopsis, it tells you like this, you know, you've got to get me out of here. Right away, there's a crazed killer on the loose, and kids are being scared to death, and a girl was brutally stabbed while taking a shower, and nobody's doing anything about it. Your peaceful, perfect place to meet girls has become a slaughtering ground for a bloodthirsty, murdering monster. Wait a minute, I think I hear someone coming up, and then just blood.
That's actually kind of clever.
That is so clever. I love it. I love it, because it's not like it is just this Like, for one, there's no plausible way that would ever happen like that.
No,
But
no.
two, it gives you everything you need to know without giving away the twist. And it does it from the perspective of a kid riding home from summer camp, which is like how
Yeah,
many
and
times
one of the murder victims too.
and one of the murder victims riding home from summer camp. Like, how often does that happen, right? Like, how often does this whole thing go down?
Yeah, because typically on VHS, what they put like pictures of the movie on the back too, or like give you like some kind of visual to look at, like that you can like see a
Sometimes,
steal from the movie.
yeah, sometimes, and then you'll get like a little snippet because they only had so much space on them. I mean, DVDs have a little bit more space, but VHSs were very limited. And yeah, so I always enjoyed that. I always enjoyed that particular box. I think that's like my favorite horror VHS box art. Never mind, I haven't seen the movie, but it's iconic enough that I remember the box art. And but the thing is, I watched the third film with a friend of mine one night, and we were by ourselves. I was crashing at his place, and he put it on. And that movie, when I was a kid, scared the crap out of me because it was like really violent. That movie, like Sleepaway Camp 3, was really, really, really violent. Like, at one point in the movie, like the movie starts off with like this girl, and she's like just walking down the street, and she's like doing her thing in the 80s. And then like all of a sudden this dump truck just starts chasing her down and like fucking runs her over and kills her. And then like out comes literally the same girl dressed the same way, right? Or dressed very similar. And that's the killer. The killer takes the identity of this girl, ends up going back to sleepaway camp. But right now it's been turned into a camp for kind of like misguided youth.
Oh, like the troublemakers, like
Yeah. Well, there's like some posh girls there as well. But mostly it's like, mostly it's like troubled kids and shit. Like, you have like your cheerleaders that like have drug addiction and whatever. And so they get out to the camp, and they get to the camp, and there's like a reporter that's there, and the reporter's talking about it, and she's like, oh, well, this is like the camp counselors. They want to make sure that these kids get rehabilitated or something. And then the reporter like goes over to like the murdering girl. I forget her name, the killer. And she's like, hey, do you know where I can score some coke? Like, you'd know where I can get some coke, wouldn't you? And she's like, yeah, hold on a sec. And then she goes in the back and she gets Drano, right? Or Comet or something. And she like sells her a baggie of Comet. And then the reporter drives off, and like she's in a convertible, and she like pulls over in the woods, and she like does a line of coke. And then she fucking like like she just dies from from snorting, Comet. And then there's like another scene where like these kids are, like they're throwing like firecrackers, and they're like, torturing people with firecrackers. And so she puts a firecracker in like one of his nose, and she lights it and blows his nose off, and then like lights the tent on fire and like kills the other guy in there too. It's pretty fucking violent, this movie. And I watched it again, like at the same night I watched The Dolls, because they had both movies on Netflix. And I was like laughing all the way through. I'm like, this is so cheesy. But like when I was a kid, like this, when I was a kid, this stuff messed with me hardcore. And so that's the thing. I would love to see that recaptured in some way, but like nothing really does it, and it's like Christmas, when you're a kid, Santa Claus is like everything,
right.
You want to believe he's coming once a year. He's going to give you what you want. And then all of a sudden you realize that no, you're not getting that, like eventually the truth comes out. And the same thing with horror movies. It's like, but nowadays they also just try too hard, I think.
Yeah.
I have, like, have you heard anything about Fear Street 1 and 2?
No, everyone's talking about it. Everyone's watching it, but it's like it's kind of just like come and went a little bit. I think the second one kind of got overshadowed by Black Widow this weekend, so it's like
yeah, a little bit
checked out yet.
I've heard good things about the first one, and then Netflix today posted like timestamps where the deaths all happen.
Why would they do that?
They didn't tell you whose death or who died or how they died. They just said, if you're squeamish, don't watch this sort of thing.
Close your eyes during this part.
Yeah. Like, it's just wait for the, wait for the thing. And you're just like, okay, wait, what? Like, let me see because they're really promoting it a lot on their Twitter account, as they really want people to know what's going to be happening with that and everything. I can't find it right now. I think I'm looking on the wrong account. But did you happen to see, before we dive into the Batman dick thing, did you happen to see the trailer for The Witcher season 2?
Yes, I did. I watched it recently. Yes.
Because I didn't see it until this morning, and I really really liked it because I thought they did a great job.
What? You don't agree with the Phantom Menace that looks mediocre and meh and boring?
Dude,
What?
what are you kidding me, man? Like
Nerd
straight the
Nerdrotic tweeted, "Oh, that Roger trailer was very meh," and literally the replies were, "Do you like anything?"
good.
I was
I'm glad.
laughing at
No, I'm
that.
glad. Like I'm glad. Like cock slap him with the truth. You know what I mean? Like just cock slap him with his own reality at this point. Just be like, hey Gary, you a bitch. Fucking uncut ham, baby. But anyway, the thing is though, is like, no, if you've played Witcher 3 in the opening of Witcher 3 when they're back at Carmoran,
I know. I'm so excited they're going
it
there.
looks like the game.
It does look exactly like
Like
it.
I mean, I haven't played The Witcher 3 in a while, and so but I still remember that intro.
Plus,
with
they're
Ser-
bringing in Vesemir and all this stuff in season
yeah,
two.
yeah, and they're looking for, Yennefer, and I mean, we got Ciri, we got Vesemir, we got like we're building it up. This is going to be a good season of shit here.
Dude, if they bring the Wild Hunt in,
The Wild Hunt won't come. No, there's a reference to the Wild Hunt in this season, I believe.
but they think they're gonna save him for later.
Yeah, well, so what I think is going to happen is because there I don't okay. I mean, this is simply my speculation, but I think the show is popular enough that's going to go on for a while, and I think what they're going to do is they're going to run through the 5 books, right? And I think there's 5 books, 5 or 8 books or something like that. But I think like I heard something they're going to do like 5 books, and then if they do the games after that, they could do The Witcher, right? They could adapt the video game. They could then adapt, Assassin of Kings, right? And then adapt the Wild Hunt. Now, would they probably end up finding a way to do the Wild Hunt first because of how popular it is? Yeah, I do think the Wild Hunt is ultimately going to get adapted while the other 2 games don't. But at the same time, WitcherCon was a complete team up with not only Netflix and the guy who created it, and I can never pronounce his name, but also CD Projekt Red had things on hand. And so CD Projekt Red was a part of that. Now, I think in essence, CD Projekt Red was definitely like on board to try to recapture some good faith after the Cyberpunk 2077 debacle.
Yeah, that's gonna
Get people talking about Witcher, right? Get that Witcher boner going on. But at the same time, you look at something like still The Witcher is a very popular game franchise, and Henry Cavill loves the Wild Hunt. So I wouldn't be surprised if they are trying to find a way to at some point adapt the Wild Hunt. I just don't think it's going to be like anytime soon. I think the Wild Hunt's going to come down the road.
It's got to be like a final season kind of thing.
Yeah, like a final season. Yeah, I think so. But I do think we are going to get a Witcher 4 announcement before the end of the year. I think they're
Really?
going to
You
announce.
think that soon?
Yes. What do you mean that soon? It's been like 2015. It's been 6 years since the
Well,
Witcher
no,
3
because
came out.
remember they went all hands on deck for Cyberpunk, right? So they're only just now developing a new game.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's why I'm saying it might be a little too early.
Well, maybe I don't know.
Yeah. Real quick though, I was gonna ask because Rational Skeptic brought up the Clue movie. I was gonna ask you what was your favorite ending out of all the Clue ones?
My favorite ending was when I think it was like the I'm trying to remember all the endings
because the first one was Miss Scarlet was the killer, and the second one was Mrs. Peacock, and then the third one I think it was Wadsworth, wasn't it?
Yeah. The third one was no, Wadsworth dies, I think, but he was still the bad guy. He was effectively the bad guy. Hold on. Let me remember what this is. It's been
They need to do something like this again, by the way. It's like multiple endings for like each time you go to the theater. That's a great idea, especially for like a murder mystery. They should do that for Knives Out too, like for Netflix. Like pick which ending you want to watch.
Yeah, well they have I'm looking here on oh no, they all did it. That's right. They all did it. Is the one that was the best ending is when and I know they all they all did it ending to to a lot of people is like kind of sketch because it's like it more or less just goes the game is just you have one killer and now you're making it everyone did it, but at the same time it's like look, it still works out really well. We'll just check out. It's only 2.5 minutes. We'll check out the clip because I love Clue. I love the ending of this. Because it's like, for one, the cast is impeccable, and the movie is great. So I mean, let's give this a watch.
Was dead, but why? None of you even met him till tonight.
You're Mr. Body. Wait a minute. So who did I kill?
My butler. Oh, shucks. He was expendable like all of you. I'm grateful to you all for disposing of my network of spies and informers. Saved me a lot of trouble. Now there's no evidence against me.
This all has nothing to do with my disappearing nuclear physicist husband or Colonel Mustard's work with the new top-secret fusion bomb.
No. Communism was just a red herring.
Communism is just a red
Police
herring.
will be here any minute. You'll never get away with this, any of you.
Why should the police come? Nobody's called them.
You mean, oh my God, of course.
So why shouldn't we get away with it? We'll stack the bodies in the cellar, lock it, leave quietly one at a time, and forget that any of this ever happened.
And you'll just go on blackmailing us all.
Of course. Why not?
Well, I'll tell you why not.
Good shot, Green.
Michael McKean's best role, man, outside of a lot of other stuff.
Very good.
Tim Curry's so good in this movie.
I know. He's good in everything.
Are you a cop?
No, I'm a plant.
A plant? I thought men like you were usually called a fruit.
Very funny. FBI. That phone call from J. Edgar Hoover was for me.
Yeah, because remember the first two endings, it was Wadsworth who was the FBI agent.
All right, who done it?
You did.
They all did it. But if you want to know who killed Mr. Body, I did. In the hall. With the revolver. Okay, Chief, take him away. I'm going to go home and sleep with my wife.
That is, I think, like one of the best endings of any movie.
For a Clue movie, especially, it's perfect.
Well, because they had established that he was gay, and so he's like, I'm gonna go home and sleep with my wife, and it's just that last little thing. It's fantastic. It's not. No, we're gonna be talking about Batman and outlines here in a second, dude. Jesus, calm the hell down. My God, you're going like, I want to see Batman's dick so bad right now, guys. They don't call me butt toucher for nothing. They don't call me butt toucher for nothing. I just want to. I need to see the dicks. Okay, so let's talk about the dicks. So this is what's boiling on down here, right? So earlier today, or no, sorry, this is like 2 days ago. I just saw this today. A DC Black Label put out this DC Comics. Of course, it's DC Comics. They're in tatters.
Yeah, a Black Label sale.
Yeah, it says here like there are no limits in the world of DC Black Label. Discover thrilling tales here, and it's like, perhaps. Well, there's that Batman going down on
down there.
Yeah, I gotta see if there's other stuff here. I might have to skip past some shit. Let's see if I can. Okay. Let's see here. But there is. You recalled an adult comic that showed nudity, and that is true. They pulled it off store shelves and they scrubbed it from the digital, right? They pulled down the digital file and they re-scrubbed it so you couldn't get the outline shot of Batman's junk. Like it literally
and that
like
was by the way, that was the very first ever DC Black Label comic, Batman Damned. That was the first time they ever did the Black Label stuff.
Yeah, and they're like, anything goes, right? And it's, exactly. It's John Morton's in here. Such an obvious lie. I mean, look, I think at this point we can kind of determine that Warner Brothers, DC, and Obvious Lie kind of go together. They kind of all go together at this point. I love this here from Harlan Quinzel. Except dicks, can't show dicks. And then you've got the censorship wiki talking about Batman Damned.
I love there's a censorship wiki, by the way.
Yeah, and then this person here, Francis Tomaso. I don't think whoever wrote that wiki understands the definition of the word censorship. No, it is pretty much censorship because they put it out there. It went through the pitch phase. It went through the writing phase. It went through the inking phase, and it went through everything, right? Like, and it wasn't just one panel. Like, there's Batman's butt. There's in one shot, which I've censored for the thumbnail. I was gonna show the front side of it, but like, nah, it's all good. And then you had like the outline of his wang in a couple different frames, and that was it. It wasn't sexual. He didn't have an erection, like he wasn't engaged in a sexual act or nothing like that. He's just taking off his bat suit. I mean, like, at the end of the day, he's going to be pretty sweaty underneath that thing. Because I don't think the latex breathes. I'm just saying,
Right.
But a lot of people, yeah. So you got to make sure. Right? It's right there at the bottom. Justice for. I'm not going down any further. Justice for Batman's. For Batman's dick. Yeah, it's very true. I mean, like, and just like the thing is, they're just getting ratioed left and right on this shit, and with good reason, with absolute good reason. Here we got like 38 quote tweets. It's probably it might be in there. Okay, cool. It's not. I mean, bat dick, bat oral, and a ratio of books that doesn't favor bats. So obviously, this whole situation with the DC Black Label is just nonsense. Like, it's just they are trying for some reason. Warner Brothers very much tries to gaslight people and get them to forget that the internet is literally forever. Like,
they just like to pretend that there's not archives of stuff.
Yeah, it goes to show you they really don't have much of a high regard for the fan base that wants to give them money. You know what I mean?
Well, I will say though, DC Black Label has produced some amazing comics. Like, there's some really good stuff in there where they really do push the envelope of like what they can do with like adult takes on these characters, like really violent stuff or sexual stuff. I mean, I think Tom King's doing a Batman and Catwoman book right now. It's DC Black Label. Like, there's a lot of sex in that book, like a lot. So
but do you see Batman's dick?
No, I do not.
No.
I don't believe you do. No.
Oh, but look here, right on the front page of the sale that they link to. Batman Damned is $6.99 for the whole run, and it's like, but it's 17 plus. It's high definition, apparently.
Man, you can really zoom in and see the details in the artwork.
Yeah, you can really get in there to find out, is he circumcised? But but it's been scrubbed. I mean, it's been absolutely scrubbed, and you get what? You get a couple different
each issue there.
Yeah. Oh no, I think this one is the whole one right here. $7 for the whole run.
Yeah, that's the graphic novel version.
Yeah. And everything else. I mean, to me, it's absolutely ridiculous that they're like, there's, I mean, if you look here, yeah, they got some cool stuff. Like,
it's, by the way, I just want to say it's 69.
Yeah, I know. I caught that too. It's all 69, dude. It's like, what the hell is this nonsense? I mean, Butt Toucher here is like, nice. Now, William here says, DC Black Label is the best-selling stuff. And William would know. William definitely would know.
He did give you a super chat, by the way.
I know, I saw that too. I saw you sneak a few lines in Dave's stream. Yeah, I gotta correct you. You know what? I just happened to tune in at the right time, buddy. I love you, but you're wrong.
There's some good stuff in here though. Batman, Last Night on Earth, the Harleen comic that I hear is pretty good. I mean, they got some good quality stuff in here for sale.
Yeah. I mean, no, there's definitely Basket Full of Heads, which I haven't heard of, but I like the artwork.
Yeah, and then Batman, Curse of the White Knight.
Oh, yeah.
The Sean Murphy White Knight stuff is fantastic. It's really good.
I read the first issue when it dropped a number of years ago, and I really liked it. I needed to just kind of like, how many different stories of this did they do?
They did Batman White Knight, and I know they did Curse of the White Knight. There's a Harley Quinn spinoff, and there's, I think, another one. It's like an ongoing like franchise of books now.
Okay. That's pretty cool. I mean, a lot of this here is just...
there's the Harley Quinn one right there. The White Knight spinoff.
Yeah, I mean, Batman is like the number one selling thing. I mean, it just is. People like Batman. They just like the world of Batman, and I think they like it because of a lot of the morally ambiguous stuff and the fact that it tackles harder issues. And look at this here: Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. No,
it's actually written by Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Conner. They're actually quite funny. I don't know why it's a DC Black Label book, though. They typically do like PG-13 stuff. I mean, they have some raunchy humor, but that's interesting.
the Joker Harley run here. Is that pretty good?
I've not read that one, so I cannot tell you.
Okay. I haven't sat down to read a comic in a long time. Ooh, Rorschach.
Yeah, the
Oh.
Superman Year One, written by Frank Miller. So it's Frank Miller. It's probably really violent or messed up.
Yeah. That's what I like. And I know that that's not what everyone likes, Again, I said the other day that Superman in most hands is generally a boring character, and a lot of people weren't very happy with me making that comment. So I get it. It's fine. So there's a lot of stuff to read here. I am,
notice a lot of Constantine and Hellblazer books too.
Gee, I wonder why. I wonder why we're going to get extra Constantine stuff right now.
Oh yeah, and then there's Wonder Woman Dead Earth, which I hear is absolutely fantastic.
Is that ongoing or
no? It's like just a 4-issue run, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta honest to God, I wanted to get into reading comics and maybe doing a side channel of just reviewing them, because for one, the Star Wars comics, I have read a few of the Star Wars comics. I like those quite a bit, but it's it's short, it's quick, you can get into it, you can talk about it, and then move on. And I think but then again, the comic side of YouTube is so, you think movies are bad? You think some movie commentary, movie talk is toxic? Go into comics.
I know, right? And
it's your soul is set on fire.
Yeah. Speaking of Black Label, actually recently I picked up Batman 3 Jokers because Enosh recommended it to me, so I have to read that as well. So
yeah, well, Enosh does ask the question here: is there anything you don't like, RJ?
Yes, there's plenty I don't like.
So
there's plenty I don't like, but the difference is I don't need to be like the Phantom Menace and just be constant negativity about what I don't like. So.
Yeah, my whole approach to it has a lot to do with if I find it to be entertaining, then I have I'll probably end up finding something about it that I like. I just like there to be a cool storyline. I just like there to be a cool aspect to this kind of shit. You know what I mean? If it's got something that can hook me and keep me entertained, and it's really a wide variety of stuff that I find appealing. It's not all dark, brooding, violent shit. I like some other stuff too, but it's I just kind of find myself drawn more to the adult side of things rather than not, I would probably never pick up a My Little Pony comic. It could be you could have a My Little Pony comic written by Max Brooks, who's one of my favorite writers, and I still would go,
Yeah. If you're looking for something really cool to read, if you're want a Marvel story, there is Spider-Man Life Story, which tells the story of Spider-Man's life to be aged naturally from 1960 to present day. That's by Chip Zdarsky. It's really good. It's a short issue runs. It's a limited series. It's absolutely fantastic. I recommend that to everybody.
See, maybe that's what movies need. Maybe that's what comics need right now. Comic book movies, comic book shows. Maybe that's what Marvel's doing so well. These are limited runs. We want more Loki, and we're probably going to get more Loki, but ultimately it's is Miss Marvel going to be a multi-season show? Probably not.
Yeah, I don't know, because she's jumping right into the movies, right? With
Tiana Paris is already in London right now. Brie Larson is... she was posting another workout video, I think yesterday, because for some reason fucking Cinema Blend reported on it.
Cinema Blend, the best place to go to for news.
I know, right? That's my whole thing with that. I love that. I love those things. Where it's I'm looking through the headlines and it's all Brie Larson absolutely crushes it during the Marvels workout. Wait, what? And then I click on the video and it's just this the thumbnail's an up close shot of her ass, and I'm like, oh my god. But that's of course Instagram and how they do it. But still, it's look. When Amber Heard puts out a video of her working out, when Brie Larson puts out a video of them working out, you know what they're trying to do. You know what they're trying to do. They're trying to get people to I would say talk about. It's because otherwise posting your workout gains, there's no real point for that if you're going to be, in a movie, because it's you're getting yourself into, we didn't see Zachary Levi posting his physical workout training during getting ready for Shazam. Mm-hmm. And it's but you see him in the new suit and it's he's clearly gone and he's done the work. But then it's you got, I don't know. I always find it to be kind of weird. I always ask myself why, who, if it's just a random, hey, let me just lift this thing. It's is that a throwdown to the haters?
Maybe. I mean, I still think it's gonna be funny if like she like openly embraces like actively calling out the fandom menace at some point. She hasn't done it yet to any extent. Outside of like her podcast, I think she made like one snide remark, but that was about it. Like, I think she needs to just embrace it, just embrace all the hate in a way, and just make fun of it.
Yeah, Otis here makes a great point. Says countering those flat ass pics from Captain Marvel 1. That is true. That was a big thing online back then.
It was
I mean,
actually.
Don't get me wrong.
That and the smile comment.
It was sexist as all hell. Like, it was sexist as all hell. Like, but that was, yeah, you're right. That was the thing where it's like, you see Tom Holland's ass in a Spider-Man costume, and like then they juxtapose that with Brie Larson, and it's like, why does Spider-Man got a booty? And I'm like, come on, guys. Like, come on. What are you doing?
Mm.
Although Rational Skeptic here says, Matt, David Ayer should have Harley sucking Joker during the Batman Lamborghini. I mean, listen.
Did you see the Rick Ross? Was that Rick Ross? Remember they did the music video for Suicide Squad, the Lamborghini?
No, I know
Leto.
the song, but
yeah, they had Jared Leto in the music video, dressed up as Joker the entire time. Like, it was canonical to the movie or in some way. It's actually a really good music video.
I need to go check it out. The soundtrack, I like the soundtrack to Suicide Squad. I really did.
Oh, same. It's a fantastic
I really
soundtrack.
enjoyed the soundtrack to that. Yeah, there was a lot of I know people.
Yeah, I hated the movie. So there you go. Something I didn't like, but the soundtrack was good.
See, I like the movie. I liked the Suicide Squad.
I wish I did. I just think the story is a garbled mess. I really do. I hate Enchantress, and I hate the freaking villains so much. They're probably one of the worst villains in any comic book movie.
Wasn't the one villain supposed to be wasn't it supposed to be who was the villain? Yeah, like, wasn't that supposed to be it? And then they changed it.
No. From what I heard, and I'm sure someone's going to correct me. From what I heard, that was an idea during the concept art phase, and never made it into the final script. So.
Oh, okay. But I heard it was still better with what Ayer wanted to do. But this, I'll tell you this.
Remember, Ayer wrote the script in 3-4 weeks. Like, it
6
was
weeks. 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Yeah, it was a super tight turnaround.
It was, and that is. I mean, like, the thing is though, like, he probably had it cranked. The first draft cranked out pretty quick. And then, of course, there's a revision process of it, because a lot of these movies are made by committee, to be fair. They talk about like the toy sales and the merchandising and all of that shit. That's a big factor. That's a big part of this kind of tentpole stuff is the merchandising and the marketing and everything. And so what can they do to spin what movies can the accountants, kind of like figure out how to make the most money based upon the budget and what they need to do. And it really does feel like it kills the artistry of it all, But I saw this I quoted this today from a Gizmodo article. The Suicide Squad doesn't understand its predecessor, won't respond to it. And Warner's is saying that it's neither a sequel nor a reboot, because Warner's is just what in the ever loving.
It's because they're caught between they're caught in the middle of a driveway. It's like a fork in the road. They don't want to piss off either fan group, like new fans who don't like Zack Snyder, but also the old fans who do like the past stuff. So it's like, well, we're not going to say it's either way. That way, hopefully you all love us and go see our movies. Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I really want to see this. I really want to see the Suicide Squad. I really do. I love James Gunn as a filmmaker and as a writer. And I'm very excited to see what's going to happen with this. And I understand that he's coming at this from his own way. I understand that he's coming at this from the perspective of he's kind of got to I don't want to say course correct, but you can tell that they're looking to James Gunn right now to kind of lead the ship. In
a sense, yes. I think he wants them to relaunch this franchise and make it even bigger than what it was before, carry that torch in a sense. But
I mean, it's not what I mean by that is I do feel at this point he's going to go do Guardians to fulfill his contract and his obligation to Marvel, and then I think he's done. And I think that
maybe I don't know. I need to see how he feels during the Guardians process, what that filming is like, and then see how he talks about it before it comes out during the press tour.
And that's gonna give you a good idea, because I think James wears his heart on his sleeve often. And
he's very honest and upfront.
And yeah, he's very and I very much appreciate that about James. That's one reason why I love him is the guy. He makes it. he very much likes to talk to fans and get them in on the action and everything else and keep them up to date. And he's honest about stuff. And that I think is something that's refreshing in regards to Hollywood. Like when, did you see that exchange between him and David Ayer the other day?
Yeah, I did. People were really upset about that. Like they're like pissed. They're like, oh, look at James Gunn over here. I'm like, the hell did James Gunn do and say that was so wrong on that tweet that you got upset with him about it?
But the thing is, James Gunn wasn't upset. Like James Gunn.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't angry or being passive aggressive, but some people are making that claim that he was.
Yeah, well, he was. I know. God, it's so fucking annoying. But he was. I'm trying to find it right here because I know I retweeted it. He had just said something along the lines of, it was a great comment because I just love that he was accepting of it. Like he's like, no, he propped up, he very much propped up David Ayer, and he's like, no, like you kind of led the way before me, and that's great, and that's awesome. I for some reason I cannot find this comment. So I know this wasn't from like the July 5th, man. What the hell? Yeah. Okay. Well, shit. I can't find the comment. God damn it.
See if I can look it up.
Yeah. I mean, that's
shit.
Yeah. So let me just kind of chit chat here at the chat.
I do agree with Minmin, by the way. Like Spider-Man Life Story is one of the best Spider-Man comics in a long time, and they didn't promote it.
Oh my God, you are so wrong, William. For one, they're not going to turn over the whole DCEU to Gunn, but they got his movie, and they're going to be doing his TV show, and there's probably going to be more spinoffs that are going to come out of that, and they're going to build up the franchise for DC probably around. Snyder's out, dude. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. Snyder's out. Let the man move on with his life. Let the man live. He's over on Netflix, and he just announced Rebel Moon, which is the adaptation of his Star Wars pitch that he was wanting to work on to send over to Lucas before Lucas sold to Disney. He's got his Army of the Dead universe that Netflix seems to really be all for, and let the guy work. Like this constant push. I'm sorry, like I gotta say it. This constant chaining of the man to his past is so wrong on so many levels, in my opinion, at this point, because all it's doing is you're like, this guy, he got what he wanted to do done. Yeah, Warner screwed him in the process. Warner's treated him unfairly, all of that shit. But he's moving on now. He got his closure. Now he's moving on. And for some reason, fans will not let him move on. They won't let him do it. I don't know why. They just won't be excited for what he has in the future. But no, chain him to this property that he spent a decade working on that ultimately cost him a lot, and do nothing but want him to come back for more. It's just like it's so abusive in my mind. Cause it's selfish. That's what it's selfish.
Well, in some regards, yes. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think William was like bringing up.
No, I mean, I'm not saying that at William directly. I like William. That's not aimed at William. But there are so many sycophants. Like I had to mute so many people on my Twitter feed that do nothing but still to this day, months and months and months later, tweet about this like Zack Snyder constantly. And it's because they've built this cult of personality around themselves and him. Their social media success is tied to how many times, when they put out those tweets like, do you want to hashtag restore the Snyderverse? Yes, yes, or yes. Like comment, like, or retweet. And they get like 100 retweets. It's a dopamine hit.
Well, I think it's a dopamine hit, and also because they know it gets traction. I think there are some people, especially on Twitter, who just want the clout. They just want that attention. They want to be signal boosters, I mean, that's just how I read it sometimes. Some people are genuine, but it feels like there is a bit of like cloud chasing going on.
Oh, there's so much. There are people who are genuine, but still, like, there's a lot of cloud chasing, dude. There's a lot of absolute cloud chasing, flat out. Like, there's no two ways about it in my mind, because it's like all you look at their profile and it's like it's their profile pic is them wearing a Zack Snyder t-shirt. Their Twitter handle is them in reference to something involving Snyder or the Snyder Cut, with like the hashtag in the name. Their Twitter banner profile is the banner image is the same thing. And like 90% of their tweets are just all about Snyder. And it's like, okay, what are you doing? Like at this point, you are just like, you're spinning your wheels and no one around them has like any, and no one tells him the truth. Like no one wants to sit him down and just go, we need to have a talk. You know, like,
Yeah.
you know, maybe you're not listening to the man when he says that they want nothing to do with him. Just,
I mean, I would like to imagine though that most people who are fans of his DC work are just fans of him as a director and just want to see him succeed wherever he goes. Though, I send the sentiment like I don't really care if he doesn't go back to DC. I'm just glad he's making great movies at Netflix that I'm interested.
yeah,
in.
no, and that's all I want. All I want is like if he comes back and we get like Justice League 2 and 3, cool beans. But it's like, are you telling me that a company that is run by a guy who produces reality TV, low budget shit is going to put up $200 million to do this? The answer to that is no. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. It's not financially viable for them to do it. They're just not. Like, the thing is, Keelar is the dude who pushed the Snyder Cut through. Keelar is the guy who got it made. And then after that, Keelar said nothing about it.
Yeah, he was oddly very quiet.
silent. Yeah. And yet you look at all the numbers like Samba TV, which again, take with a grain of salt. And people looked at that as being like pure data, which it was data, but it was like, you know, kind of like ancillary data. Like look at it as more of a reference rather than like a hard fact.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then you had like in the UK, it did well on streaming, and other places it did well on streaming, like Crave in Canada. So clearly there was success with the movie and all that, which is great. Clearly there was success there.
Yeah.
But they've said nothing about it. Deborah Snyder's even said she's received nothing about it. Charles Roven said he's received nothing about it.
Yeah, they're not even telling people who were involved in the making of it.
They have shut it the hell down. Zaslav is not going to change that. He's not going to do it. It's not in his purview. He might have mentioned it once in an interview, and that's what everyone's holding on to. But he also talked about Sex and the City and Entourage in that interview. Sex and the City just showed off its first the first official photo of like the three women. I don't know their names, whatever. But there's
nor
no
do I
Kim
care to know.
Well, the thing is Samantha was trending because Samantha was played by Kim Cattrall. Kim Cattrall is not in Sex and the City 3 or the new show, whatever it's called. Yeah. So the one who was like the most sex positive person on a show called Sex and the City that was all about like, you know, having fun and getting off and everything else. And it was the most adventurous and the most wild and the wild card of the group that like everyone's like, oh, I'm a Samantha. It was a cultural thing. Kim Cattrall was a cultural thing from Sex and the City. She's not included in that. And that image, all it sparked was, why isn't Samantha in this movie? That is the negativity that came out of that image, because it wasn't about, oh, look at Carrie Bradshaw, played by Sarah Jessica Parker, and like Kristen Davis and Cynthia, whatever the fuck. And, you know, it's none of that. Look at like, oh my God, look how glorious they are in their 50s. It's just, where is Kim Cattrall? That's the whole point, is like when you are making something like that, and that's not going to last either. So, you know, it's just, you can't, like, this company is going to be pumping out
It's
so
not even
much.
called Sex and the City, by the way. The follow-up series is called And Just Like That. It doesn't have Sex and the City in the name, which I find fascinating. Like, how's anyone going to know it's Sex and the City? You're just going to call it And Just Like That? Like, no.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like Gossip Girl, the new Gossip Girl. You know what I mean? Like it's out for HBO Max, and then like it's really raunchy on HBO Max, but they cut it down for like the CW release of it. And then you look at like the Powerpuff Girls and like the script that came out from Diablo that got leaked out from Diablo Cody, and it's all has like what Bubbles like eating pussy and shit, and it's like, oh, we had sex 6 times last night. Like, you must be a superhero, because I don't know anyone who's like, I had sex 6 times last night. You know,
Was it with the same dude or the same person?
it was the same woman. It was the same girl. It was like, you know, some rando chick. She's like, oh my God, like we did it like 6 times, right? So I'm saying, like, it was terrible dialogue, because Diablo Cody can't write.
Yeah.
But anyway, William here says, I don't have enough money to push the amount of super chats I would need to prove you wrong about how the films will be financed. No, because I'll summarize it. You're going to sit there and say that Zaslav says he wants to put up $20 billion in content. And that's to keep up with Disney and to keep up with Amazon and to keep up with Netflix, 100%. But at the same time, as they have a lot of people that they got to cater to, and that's going to be a whole bunch more Dr. Pimple Popper and things like that. You know, you're gonna get more kind of schlock out of TLC, which isn't learning. That channel had like, you know, the Honey Boo Boo show, and it had fucking Dance Moms, and then it also had 18 and Counting with the Duggars. You know, Josh Duggar, who is currently arrested, or no, he's on house arrest. For finding all that CP on his hard drive. And I mean, like, you know, it's like they don't put out high quality content through Discovery.
Well, hold
anymore.
on, Matt. So the question is though, will you make a bet with William? Because he wagered me, as he mentions in the comments. He made a bet saying that if I'm right about Spider-Man, a new deal happening post No Way Home, he's going to give me $100 in store credit for shopping at Alex Ross signed comics. So you gonna make the bet with them publicly on the air?
What's the okay? So I would get $100 in credit to your store, but what do I have to pay if I lose?
That's a good question, because I didn't actually clarify that either.
Wait, you took a bet without clarifying what you'd have to pay out if he's right?
I'll just spend $100 of my own money
At his store?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I'll take that bet. I'll put up 100. But what's the time frame? He says that's not what I was going to say. Yeah, I think that's, I'll put up 100 on that. So, you know, I'll spend $100 at Williams' store. I don't know. I'll get out to Vegas next, but I'll do it.
Yeah.
Because I like to support small business.
So. Right.
You know, yeah. Let's see here. Hold on here. Okay. The fourth here says Snyder fans in large have no principles. They're just going to watch whatever new movies Warner Brothers puts out the way Warner Brothers wants them to. Now, it's not that they don't. I disagree and I agree. Okay. And reason why I disagree more than I agree, but you have a point there, because it's like, you know, when the whole thing with Ray Fisher was happening and all that stuff, there was a lot of, you know, people that I posed a question. Are you guys going to cancel your HBO Max account? And even Enosh was like, that's a hard question to ask, because, you know, it's like they want to see Snyder Cut. Guess what? During all the Ray Fisher stuff, no one who has been vocal has even talked about canceling their HBO Max account. If you wanted to hurt Warner's that badly, that's how you do it. You hurt them in their wallet. That's how they respond. So,
true,
I mean,
but then you'd be hurting, you know, a continuation of something that Ray Fisher would be involved in, though.
Well, I mean, at this point, is there a continuation? At this point, he's already out of the character. He's not playing the role anymore. They're already moved on from him. If they bring back Zach now, the amount of grief that Ray Fisher has caused Warner Brothers would basically mean like he ain't gonna come back. And if that ends up being the straw that breaks the camel's back, provided that Emmerich and Hamada are still somewhat involved, or anyone who is at this current regime of Warner Brothers that doesn't want to have that kind of, like, imagine how it would be if we do get a Justice League 2 and Zack Snyder is like, you know, like, we want Ray Fisher as Cyborg, but Warner Brothers doesn't want to do that because of the guff that Ray caused for Warner Brothers. I mean, that would automatically, like, get everyone riled up again to go after Warner Brothers and to call them racist and all this other shit. Is that going to inspire Warner Brothers Discovery's David Zaslav to put up the money in order to do that? No, because it's bad PR. It's terrible PR. There's a reason why they've been silent on this whole thing. Like, it's not just about the money. It's also about the image. And maybe I'll tell you this. I'll change my tune if Zaslav comes out and issues an apology to Ray Fisher. If he does that, I'll change my tune 100%. Because Emmerich ain't going to do it. Keelar ain't going to do it, Mr. I Love Snyder. Hamada ain't going to do it. Jeff Johns ain't going to do it. So who's the next person? And next year is going to be David Zaslav. Is he going to come out and say, I'm sorry? I don't think so. He's tight with John Stankey, the CEO of AT&T, where this whole deal brokered through. If John Stankey didn't come out and make that apology, I'm just saying, it's like, look at the world, man. I hate having to keep relitigating this shit, but it's like, it's not hard to see how it lays out in front of you. And it's not going the way I want it to go either. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news or the realistic cynic. That's not what I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, it's like, the thing is like, yeah, these Snyder Cut fans, guess what? They're going to watch Suicide Squad. They're going to watch it on HBO Max. The question is,
though, are they going to watch it legally or illegally?
They still all have their goddamn HBO Max subscription, dude. I guarantee you. Most of them still have it. They haven't dropped it.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
They haven't dropped it. There hasn't been a cancel HBO Max hashtag alongside Restore the Snyderverse, because it's a lot of a hot air coming out of people who just want to feel like they're involved in something rather than actually taking and making the hard choices. Like, I'm probably going to cancel my HBO Max subscription next month after I watch Suicide Squad. Why? Because I'm not watching it for anything else right now. I'm just not. I'm just not watching.
I watch South Park and Rick and Morty on it. That's pretty much it right
now. Yeah, and I could get South Park by going to South Park Studios, and I can get Rick and Morty, I think, by there's other legal ways of doing it. You know? So it's like, there are ways. I think Adult Swim has got it on the website too, after the fact. So there's other ways to procure the content without getting on HBO Max. It's not that it's a bad service. I like the service. I'm just not watching it. And so it's, again, you had Mad Max Fury Road just left HBO Max. There's another movie today, another big Warner Brothers movie that left HBO Max today. Content is leaving HBO Max faster than it's coming in. Like, I think all the Matrix movies are back, but they left for like a month.
Yeah, look what happened with Harry Potter.
Well, Harry Potter, they got on there now because they had to make a deal, broker the deal with USA.
Yeah, it just took a minute, though, is the problem.
It took a minute because Harry Potter is important. It's like Disney made sure to pay off TBS for the rights to Star Wars.
Yeah, they got that. Like, I think it was only like, what, Last Jedi wasn't on there for a little bit. That was it. And then, like, Solo took a minute because it was on Netflix.
Yeah. And then they all got them on there and whatnot. But they wanted to have the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy on Disney Plus on day one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we got McClunky, remember?
Yeah, that's how we got McClunky, yeah. And it's like, that's how we got McClunky, which I still love. I think it's terrible, but I love it. And that's how we got all this stuff, was because they had given it in a way, you know, we had gotten it because they knew the importance of it. And so they got it and they held it. HBO Max is a very poorly managed service. And it's even going to go into more flux because now within a year of its release, it's being sold off to another company in a merger. And was it today? Today I was reading that Warner Media is looking to sell off Neversoft. NetherRealm. Whoever does the Mortal Kombat
NetherRealm.
game.
They did
NetherRealm.
Injustice and Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. So the report now is that they're going to sell them off. And Traveler's Tales, the Lego designers, developers.
Don't sell them off. Why?
They're selling them off because they're they're basically like, AT&T bought Warner Brothers in hopes of trying to get in on the streaming game.
But the video games make them so much money, though.
But they look at it right now as being a loss.
How is it a loss, though? Mortal Kombat 11 is one of the most popular games out right now.
When did Mortal Kombat 11 come out? Like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, I think 2019. But they just announced they're making a new game right now.
But is it Mortal Kombat 12?
I think it's Injustice 3.
I didn't hear about Injustice 3 being made.
Well, they haven't confirmed what they're working on. They said, we're ending DLC support for Mortal Kombat 11 and we're working on a brand new game.
They're working on something new, probably a brand new IP that can go to whoever is going to be the publisher of them next.
Well, there is a rumor they're making a Marvel game.
Well, I mean, rumors are rumors at this point, but I mean, the reports are coming out that they might be looking to sell them off, which means that it's not going to be a DC themed game.
That's a huge loss for them if that's the case.
That's going to be a huge loss on that front.
Because Injustice is huge. That's a huge franchise.
Well,
they're making a new animated movie right now based on it.
Yeah, that's right. They are, and it is popular. Yeah, but AT&T is not looking at it from that perspective. AT&T is looking at consolidating as much as it possibly can. It's going to sell off whatever it feels it needs to, because they need to recoup money, and that's why they're doing this merger with Discovery, because it's going to free up or give them like $43 billion so they can invest in their 5G technology in the telecom, because the parent company comes first. Everything with HBO and HBO Max and Warner Brothers and Warner Media is all meant to serve AT&T. And clearly the pandemic fucked them. And instead of writing it out and doing the right thing, they are rapidly changing everything. So, I mean, that's why we're going to start seeing, I think with HBO, you're not going to be getting something as expensive as Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3. I'm sorry, but you will be getting.
Well, couldn't they like do it on a smaller budget though? If like they use different technology, like the volume technology or
the
something
volume
like
technology will help lower the budget, but the budget is going to be the cast.
Well, do you think they would take a small pay cut if it's a TV series instead of a movie?
But why would they? That's the question you have to ask yourself too, RJ. Why would the actors take less money?
Do it for the fans.
Do you really think they? But do you really think that
as like big IP characters?
That's still. This is a business for them, and it's not just them. They have their whole team.
About the fans, though, don't you think?
I'm not saying they don't care about the fans, and I'm not saying they don't want to. That they wouldn't want to do it. But at the end of the day, their team is going to look at that and go, "It's not. You're going to take away 6 months to go do this television show, shoot 4 episodes or whatever. That is time you could be doing another movie, making a lot more money."
Well, it doesn't mean they have. I mean, the thing is, though, wouldn't they like say, "Okay, I have like, for example, Henry Cavill. He's doing The Witcher. He's doing I don't know, Mission Impossible, that new movie. He's doing, what was it, Stars or something? Matthew Vaughn or whatever, I think.
Argyle. He's doing shooting Argyle. Yeah, and I think in like next month.
Yeah, like I'm saying, like they can line up other projects, right?
They can line up other projects,
a TV series on the side for please fans to get more interest in their other work.
Yeah, but it's like someone like Henry Cavill is not the same star power as someone like Ben Affleck or Gal Gadot.
Well, what's Ben Affleck doing right now?
Ben Affleck's getting jacked to go back and play Batman to retire out his role.
What if he doesn't retire though?
I'm pretty like, okay, come on.
Who's the difference though? Is he going to get killed off or is he going to retire?
I think he'd retire. I think he wants to get a send off. He wants closure for the character.
Because if he gets killed off, then I agree with you that's over. But if he retires or he's still alive at the end of that movie, there's still a chance.
Yeah, they might leave it open ended, but I think it's going to serve as a bookend for the character. It might end up being like the series finale of Breaking Bad, where Walter's dead, but Jesse gets away in the car, and that's just him like laughing as he's driving off into the night, finally a free man, finally free of everybody. But then a couple years later, we get a movie called El Camino, which is a 2-hour epilogue to Jesse's story,
which is fantastic, by the way.
Oh, excellent! I love El Camino. But I'm just saying, it's like you might get something like that down the road. But even then, they have to sit there and figure out a way to make it work. Now, I would assume that if anything, we're not going to get the Justice League. We're going to get the ancillary stuff. There's going to probably maybe a Deathstroke. All right, maybe something else. But Aquaman 2 is going to be a sequel. But the Snyder Cut as a whole is not canon at this point. It's fan canon, but it ain't canon. They're not approaching it that way. They're not going to treat it that way. Shazam 2 is going after Shazam, which goes after Justice League. It's, I'm not trying to be a dick or to be, cynic.
No,
but
I get the way you're approaching from it. I'm looking at this like an optimist point of view.
Yeah, no, and that's good. That's really good. I mean, it's just like, and I love to be an optimist about it too. It's like
I say that there's no definitive answer yet until next summer. I think next summer, once the merger's completed, we see if anybody leaves, like management wise, where people get phased out or,
Yeah, well, again, that's next year. But hold on here. Otis here says Warner Brother put a gag on all their employees regarding the Snyder Cut, and I'd rather Zach break some new ground. Well, we don't know that there's a gag order. That was a rumor that came out from Midnight's Edge or something.
Was that a real order?
No, I don't know.
Oh, sorry, a real rumor.
It's a rumor, yeah. People believe it's that there's this gag order. It might have come in from Small Screen or Geekosity. I'm not too sure where it originated, but it was a rumor.
I'm sure that hard to believe because something like that would have leaked out.
I'm sure at this point, like there is a thing like don't talk about it, right? I'm sure that the gag order, but it's like, but from what I heard, it's like the gag order came in from Toby Emmerich, which somehow is also applied to Jason Kilar. And I'm like, the CEO of Warner Media outranks, the head of Warner, Warner Picture Group. And even Ann Sarnoff, who outranks Toby Emmerich, those gag orders would not apply to either of them. And Sarnoff, put out that really terrible Variety interview the weekend that movie came out to dash all hopes of it going forward. Like, they strategically dropped an interview with like a very high level executive to say, we done. It's like, and I agree with Otis here. I would rather have Zach break new ground. Give me more Army of the Dead. Give me whatever this Rebel Moon is. It sounds pretty cool. And the Twilight of the Gods, right? Doing that thing. Have Jay Oliva, the man is creating new IPs over at Netflix. Like, he seems happier there.
Yeah. I think he should do whatever's best for himself and his mental well-being, whatever makes him happy at the end of the day. Because I don't think any Snyder fans want to be put into a position where he's working under another toxic environment, where it's like constant.
No, they do. No, they absolutely do. I'm telling you this right now. They don't care. I'm telling you they don't care.
Not all Snyder fans.
The ones that are the most vocal about this right now, they don't care. Because it's about serving their needs, not about serving Zach. It's not, that's the whole point. And there are people that we both know that we both like really well that I think are very much cognizant, and that they're very much also part of that problem, because it's like, Warner Brothers, as where it is right now, is pretty toxic. It has been toxic, and that regime has changed a little bit, but at the same time, it hasn't. And you know what? Like, I don't necessarily see it really changing up next year either, even with a new CEO. Because that CEO is going to be about trying to bring, again, he's going to be like kind of Bob Chapek over at Disney, which is like, let's IP mine whatever we can IP mine. And they're going to keep a lot of the same people in place because, I could see Emmerich leaving because there's nowhere else for him to go. He's the head of Warner Brothers. It's not like he's going to be like Tom Rothman, who was the head of Fox, who then stepped down and then ultimately became the head of Sony. I don't see Kathleen Kennedy stepping down and then, Bob Chapek going like, yo, Emmerich, you want to come run Star Wars? I just don't see that happening. So Emmerich is kind of stuck. He's stuck where he is. He is peaked in his field. So it's either better to stay at the top and not ruffle any feathers so they don't need to bring somebody else in who they have to then train and go through that transition period. It's better to keep the dude there. I'm telling you, he ain't going nowhere, because it's not, because the thing is like, that's the shitty thing about that's kind of sad for Toby, because Toby is stuck. He's stuck in that environment, and he's stuck there because there's no other company. Netflix didn't want him. He went through David Geffen of all people, which is a big name. And he went through Geffen to try to reach out to Netflix to see if there's an executive position at Netflix. And they were like, nah, we cool, dog. So like, he's stuck, like Kathleen Kennedy can leave fucking Lucasfilm and go back to Kennedy Marshall Productions and still produce movies. But even then, she's also kind of the head of Lucasfilm. Is kind of like, they're not going to, if Alan Horn steps down, when Alan Horn steps down, which could be the end of this year, when Iger officially steps down from being chairman of the board at Disney.
It's probably coming pretty soon, I would imagine.
Although I would assume, if the rumors are true about how bad Chapek is effing up Disney right now, I could see Iger not stepping down as chairman of the board. And
if that happens, I'd be a little scared.
If that happens, then things are bad at Disney.
How would you get rid of Bob Chapek as CEO, though? That's my question.
How does that work? Iger would have to convince the board to oust him.
So didn't they do that with Michael Eisner?
I don't remember what happened with Michael Eisner. It's possible.
I could have sworn he got kind of forced out by the board.
It's possible. He had his ups and he had his downs. But real quick, the fourth here says, Snyder fans, bring back Affleck. Also, Snyder fans can't wait for Pattinson's Batman.
I don't know if I agree with that, because a lot of people are down on Pattinson's Batman because it's not Ben Affleck, so I don't know.
I'll be like this, because I fall in both brackets. Meaning yes, I want more Batfleck because I love Batfleck, but in Matt Reeves I trust, and Pattinson looks cool. So
yeah, I'm hopeful it'll be good.
I have no doubt in my mind it's going to be good. I'm just saying, it's like I think the Batman is going to do very well. But I think the smart move would be to set the Batman in the mid 1990s and have it be a younger version of Batfleck.
Yeah, which they already confirmed they're not doing. So.
Yes, that would be the smart thing, because then it would keep in the continuity of all that, and you could do your trilogy or your anthology of movies far before we get to BVS. You know, and so you'd have room to play, you'd have room to do all that kind of stuff.
No, to be fair though, I kind of like how it's its own thing, so that way it can just do whatever it wants. It can just exist in this pocket universe and just tell its own unique story. You know, not held down creatively in any regard. Yeah, they could bring in other characters and not have to worry about connecting to a larger universe.
I like Eddie here. Watch, if a miracle happens, Matt's going to issue an apology for being a non-believer. I can admit that I'm wrong. You know what I mean? I can admit that I'm wrong on that. Let's see here. Hold on. HBO Max is still the best streamer for the value, and I have them all. I'm not saying it doesn't have good content, but it's also not like the content that's there is this for the original content. I don't care about Gossip Girl. You know, like there's good HBO documentaries, and I like watching Last Week Tonight, but it's still not picking up and not catching on because of the multiple tiers. They got rid of HBO Go, but they still have HBO Now. And hopefully when they start migrating it into other countries, which, you haven't heard much about HBO Max going to Latin America or going over to Europe or Canada. There hasn't been a lot of talk, and they've already said that was supposed to already happen, I think. So, I think this merger is like slowing down some expansion, but I could be wrong. Let's see. Shiftygism says here, HBO Max has an amazing library of content. I wish they'd get Strike Back, as they've got all the other Cinemax shows. Yeah, I know that they've got Banshee on there, and Banshee is the shit.
Yeah. By the way, I think you missed Rational Skeptic Super Chat earlier.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, he said for $2.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Rational. I'm very sorry, dude. Jay Oliva needs to be in charge of the DCEU. You know what? I think he needs to be in charge of the DCAU. Is what I think.
Is he not in charge already?
No, he directed The Dark Knight Returns, but he's over working with Snyder now over at Netflix.
Oh, that's right. I think he's done a couple animated series for Netflix already.
Yeah, so he's working over there. Yeah. Let me see. All right. Hold on here. As long as Batman is R-rated, that'd be great.
I've heard some rumors that it might be, so we'll see.
Well, Shiftygism, I do agree with this comment here. Tom Rothman is a piece of shit, or was a piece of shit. He had what could have been the next Star Wars with X-Men and undervalued it because he was afraid to put out a movie that had a purple robots and other fantastical elements. Oh, no. That's entirely true.
And people wonder why I'm scared that he's in charge of Sony and Spider-Man. Right?
Well, the thing is, he's in charge of Sony, but Spider-Man is being produced through Amy Pascal. This is what you got to remember. When Amy Pascal, when she exited the company as being the CEO of Sony, or president of Sony Pictures, when she bounced out of that, she established a kind of the deal with Kevin Feige on the way out the door.
Well, I know, but doesn't Tom Rothman have still involvement in regards to what Sony
he's
does
still,
with the character?
yeah. Well, it's him and Tony Vincent Quera. And Tony Vincent Quera is like Tom Rothman's boss, I think. Like Tom Rothman is the president, Tony is like the CEO.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Amy Pascal's not perfect. She's a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs in some regards, but I think she knows how to be a good producer. So,
well, okay. I mean, you're not wrong, but it's like Avi Arad is still a big problem in that field.
No, he is.
That's a big issue with Avi Arad. Toby here, or Williams says, Emmerich doesn't have much time left on his contract. That problem will solve itself. He's not going anywhere.
Who would replace him is my question.
Yeah.
I don't even know who would at this point.
Who would replace him? Okay. Well, okay, fine. I will say this. Yeah, you have a point, William, that Discovery already does have the international side of things. So merging it with HBO Max will help with an international rollout. That is true. And that will leave a lot to be determined on that one. You are right. I'll give you that one there. I agree with you on that one. So, anyway, so I wanted to, touch upon this here. We kind of brought it up a little bit ago, but this is the thing that's going on with this fight between the Suicide Squad. People who are upset for some reason with with David Ayer reacting to James Gunn revealing his easier path with Warner Brothers. Because really, when Warner's went to James Gunn about Suicide Squad or about making a movie with them right after he was canceled over at Disney, James, he kind of had carte blanche to do what he wanted. And so he says here in a tweet, when I first met with Warner Brothers Pictures and DC Comics about the Suicide Squad, I said it would need to be an R-rated war film with no holds barred. I'm always upfront with partners about what I want to do. They agreed. Once the rules were set, we were off and running. I love this movie. To which case David Ayer simply just said, dang, right? Because he did not have that experience. So James then says, although a lot of the major players at Warner's were different people, there was no doubt their troubles with you helped pave an easier path for me, David. So I'm very grateful for that, for everything else you did to help this movie along its path. Now, I think that's a very sweet comment to make, because it is saying you had your troubles, but I was able to come in afterward and there were mistakes that were made or there, the troubles that were learned. But again, kind of rereading it, there is a little bit of what's the word I want to use here? Condescension in that post. There's a little bit of condescension. Maybe I'm reading it wrong.
From Ayer or Gunn?
From Gunn. He says he's like, Warner's, there was a lot of the major players at Warner's were different people. There was no doubt their troubles with you helped pave an easier path for me. So their troubles with you, not the film, right? Their troubles with you. And I don't know what the fuck that means.
I think it means in regards to the conflict going on and how, because apparently the production of that movie was a bit hellish in regards to especially post-production. It was absolutely ridiculous what happened to Ayer.
Yeah, no, he got totally screwed. He got totally screwed on that one. And
I guess when I read this post, I'm just I don't understand what the problem is, because he's saying he's acknowledging all the hard work David Ayer did in building out those characters and saying the work you did paved the way to get me into this position.
Yeah, but it's but I think, again, going back to what I said earlier, it's yeah, it can say that, but also this movie is oh, thank you for helping me get this movie made. By the way, it has no connection or relation to your film outside of a couple of characters, a couple of actors. It's not a sequel. It's not a reboot. It's like an Elseworld story or some shit like that. And
I don't know though, because James Gunn did say it does connect to Birds of Prey a little bit. There are it doesn't ignore that movie.
Oh, but it's going to ignore the 2016 Suicide Squad, which I think is I think that's a problem. I do. I think that's an absolute problem. They want things to be connected. They want continuity. They want this universe. And then again, at every step of the way, they are shunning it. And but who was the person who was kind of in charge of establishing the original universe? Zack Snyder. So, I mean, if they're, I'm just saying, it's all signs point to they are moving on. Unfortunately. But I mean, I see your point though. It's a nice comment on the behalf of Gunn. And I do like Gunn quite a bit. Real quick here. Rational Skeptic, $5. Thank you, man. So guys, don't get your hopes up. Pattinson doesn't like to do franchises. And Matt Reeves said if his film isn't connected to anything multiverse related. Not yet. Not yet.
Well, again, everything I've heard and that's been told was that he almost walked away from this movie until they sat down and said, okay, you have creative freedom. You can do whatever you want. We're not going to interfere. So I think so long as this first movie is successful and they get what they want from it, box office wise and monetization wise and merchandise, I think for the most part, they're just going to let him have his trilogy, and then that'll be that.
I still think, and I know that people will push back on me, and I've said it before, and I will reiterate this. I still think that they should tie 2019 Joker to the Batman. That he should be the impetus for the Joker character. That he should be the inspiration for the Joker that Batman fights. I know people out there I'm saying.
I honestly, dude, I prefer if they didn't even have Joker in this trilogy.
They're going to have Joker in the trilogy.
They will. I'm just saying.
You can't do Batman without the Joker.
Well, save him for the last movie then. Don't do him in the
Fine.
first two.
Yeah. Don't. Yeah. Don't kill him off in the first movie. Don't kill him off in the second movie. Wait to make sure that the actor is actually alive for the third movie. That might be the better way to go about it. But no, I mean, I really feel like where we are with this, I think the Batman is going to be probably what, very much a direction that they want to go. But this multiverse thing, is still just such a horrible, horrible movie or horrible idea going forward. Because we already know they can't manage it. I'm sorry. They just can't manage it. They're just not going to be able to do it.
So what you're saying is that it's going to fall apart and get so convoluted that they need to make a movie called Crisis on Infinite Earths and then reboot the entire universe to be one continuity again.
Yeah. And it's going to be run by Greg Berlanti because you know what? He's done it already.
That's how all the TV actors get upgraded into movie costumes. Say, okay,
Screw
here
it.
you go.
Screw it. I would see Grant Gustin. I'd prefer Grant Gustin over Ezra Miller. I'm sorry. Like,
Really?
Yes. I liked Ezra in Snyder Cut. He was better than in Justice League. But when it comes to Ezra Miller as an actor in general, it's like, no. I don't care.
It's a hard no.
I don't get anything out of Ezra Miller. I just don't. Like, I just get like, and maybe this is, like when he goes to conventions and he's dressed like, like a female Toad and he's in a mini skirt. It's like, not that I care about that.
Toadette.
It's not that I care about that.
Alchemist. Yeah.
It's not that I care about that. But what I mean is like, because I thought it was funny when he did it. But to a lot of people, there are people I talked to that were like, it turns them off because they're trying to envision when you watch a movie and you're trying to put yourselves in the shoes of the hero, how that hero like looks is going to be a lot about how you put yourselves in those shoes. Mm-hmm. And if you've got someone like Ezra, who's what I think non-binary is, I don't know what Ezra's pronouns are now.
I honestly don't know either.
Yeah, I'm going to Google that real quick. Does anyone here in the chat know Ezra Miller's pronouns? Even that. Ezra uses they, them pronouns. So, because Ezra said that they don't identify as a man.
Oh, okay.
And that's not really kind of like heavily talked about at all. That's not really talked about much, but it's a lot of people out there very much don't like Ezra Miller. And I say that not because of the way he dresses. He did direct a short film. Remember the Michael Brown shooting?
Yes, I do.
So he was So I just found this out the other day. Ezra was sympathetic to Darren Wilson, the police officer in that incident. And they directed a short film. They brought in an actor who looks a bit like Darren Wilson to talk about the shooting from Darren Wilson's perspective. And
geez, I don't think that would have gone over well with something.
It didn't. It was played at Sundance. I've
never seen anyone talk about this though.
Yeah. Oh no, I watched it last week when I first heard about it. It's unlisted. I found it. It's unlisted. But I found
it's on YouTube?
It's on YouTube, yeah. It's on the Sundance. It's on Sundance's YouTube channel, but it's unlisted. So that's kind of a thing. And then never mind the choking incident, which they clearly want to overlook. And they did overlook.
Yeah, they basically pretended it never happened. It's like, we're just not going to address it whatsoever.
Yeah, they just very much were like, nope, we're fine.
Choking incident? What choking incident? Nothing happened.
Yeah, like, what do you mean? That never went down the way you thought that it did. So I think with Ezra Miller in general, it's not that Ezra's a bad actor. They're not a bad actor. But I'll definitely
say this though, if in that Flash when we get more Justice League Flash versus Snyder Cut Flash, it's going to be a little wonky for me.
What do you think we're going to get?
Hopefully something that's not as bad as Justice League, and Andy Muschietti brings some seriousness to the character and gets a better performance out of him that was in that cut, I should say.
I'm just saying, it's like, the Flash is a sequel. It's a continuation to Justice League, not to the Snyder Cut. Now, Andy Muschietti might bring a bit more nuance to the character. And I'm sure he will bring more nuance to the
Yes,
character.
that's what
of
I'm
Barry
hoping
Allen.
for. Yes.
But Christina Hodson as the writer, coming off of Birds of Prey.
Maybe it'll be more like Bumblebee. Maybe
Bumblebee wasn't a well-written movie.
but I like Bumblebee.
But did you? I mean, it's like, you know, I mean, did you like it for the acting, or did you like it because of the story? Because the story was kind of basic, and John Cena really overacted that entire movie.
I mean, it wasn't a basic story, sure, but it compared to the other Transformers movies, it was like a breath of fresh air. Like
Because it was something that was coherent enough to follow what was happening, and there wasn't gigantic explosions.
I think it had good character work.
Fine, okay. I will agree with you that I liked Haley Steinfeld's Charlie character, and I liked Bumblebee, but the boyfriend / sidekick character was annoying as hell. And John Cena was literally hamming it up in every single shot he was in. Like John Cena, like I lost so much respect for John Cena as an actor in that movie. Because I'm like, what are you doing? Like, are you trying to play like a dumb comedic general from like a 1980s kid film? Like, what is the motivation here? You're like some badass, like CIA general operative military dude. And yet you're like just cracking these dumb jokes at the most inappropriate times that bomb, and everyone is just kind of there because you could kick their ass. Like nothing about that made any sense to me. And also the whole, like Charlie's plot with the diving was such just a plot device to get her to like the end, to overcome her fear, to dive into the water to save whatever the fuck she needed to save. Like,
oh yeah. I forgot what it was, but yeah.
Yeah. Like, cause they like, oh, like you were a diver, Charlie. And then like she goes to
it's because it's a connection to her father.
Sure. Fine. Okay. But then she goes to like some high school party in the middle of the day and, you know, on a cliffside.
Yeah.
No, the soundtrack was good, but they also kind of like, it's kind of like the anti Wonder Woman 1984. Where like in Bumblebee, they go out of their way to remind you that it's the 1980s, you know, with the soundtrack and the cars and the tech and everything else, you know. Oh, hey guys, hot dog on a stick, you know, that's a thing from the 1980s. And then you watch Wonder Woman 84 and it's just like not one 80s song in the entire movie.
Yeah, it's like very much didn't want to remind you took place in the 80s.
Yeah, and that's the whole.
It should have been a modern day movie. I stand by that. It just should have taken place in present day.
So it should, yeah. It's it is what it is. Like, oh, so Bradley says he overacted in Fast 9 too. I haven't seen it yet.
I've not seen Fast 9 either. I'm just gonna wait for that to come on Peacock.
I'm gonna try. I'm so desperate. I'm trying to find the time to sneak out to go and see a movie.
Have you seen Black Widow yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay, because some people in the chat were asking about that.
Oh no, I haven't seen Black Widow yet. If I can. It's 2 hours and 14 minutes. Like if I can get out of here in the next like 20, I might give it a watch for bed. I was going to watch it last night, but I had to get up early this morning to go out of town with my family. So, and then I got home and you know how it is. Like you got the kids and they're overtired and you got to like wind them down. And then it's like, hey, you change one diaper. And then all of a sudden it's like my daughter always does this. Like we have dinner, I change her diaper and then she shits. Right. Like it's always like I have to, like now I wait. I give her a little extra time before I change it. I'm like, maybe I can catch the diaper on the back end, right? Or catch the poop on the back end. Now she waits. She'll wait. She just waits for me to like change her diaper. So it's a nice, fresh, clean, you know, Huggies. And then she just like lays waste to it. I'm like, oh my God, you're costing me so much money. It's like,
why must
expensive,
you do this
RJ.
to me?
Diapers are so expensive.
I imagine they are.
But no, that was all. I need to watch it. I have it. I just have to watch it. And yeah, but I do want to see F9 real bad. I'm a big fan of those other ones here. But I guess let's talk about like the final story of the night, because this is what I want to talk about too. Is Nintendo BTFO'd this Zelda Breath of the Wild hacker. This guy was selling modified save data. What
do they mean by modified save data?
Well, it was sold online as the ultimate save data. Like, I don't know what the hell that means. Let's find out more.
100%, or let's see.
I'm assuming, yeah. So back in the past, they did crackdowns because Nintendo consoles are super easy to mod. They're really easy to mod. And so, but people sell a lot of that shit. So Nintendo does crack down on that one. Now, back in April, Tokyo-based Chinese national Ichimin Show posted an advertisement on a Japanese e-commerce site selling the ultimate save data for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. In reality, this ultimate save data was actually just modified data, and Show was offering to make any changes buyer requested, such as boosted stats and abilities, for the price of 3,500 yen, about $32 USD. One of the interested parties was actually the Niigata prefectural police. I love that the cops in Japan are called they have the different prefectures. Mm-hmm. And like it just, you know, I only know that term as a gaijin from like the Harry Potter books. You know, when Percy Weasley was a fucking prefect and like he's like, dude, he's a narc, right? Like she writes it like, oh, he's a prefect. He's like a hall monitor. Now the guy was a straight up narc. And so anyway, and so the 27-year-old man was arrested earlier this week under violation of the Unfair Competition Prevention Act in Japan. Show admitted to the charges and further revealed how his sale of hacked save data from dated back to December 2019. In that time, he's earned about 10 million yen. His specific violation was providing paid services to circumvent technological restrictions placed on the Switch by Nintendo. The data alteration was done through an unidentified accomplice. Yeah, well, obviously there's going to be like, you know, a third party on that one. I just thought that was really funny.
Yeah, they've been cracking down a lot on the hackers of Nintendo stuff. Have you seen like the Pokemon leakers? Like what they look it up, dude, because they like got like massive jail time, and I think they got like sued like millions. Like the Sword and Shield leakers who like leak stuff about those games. I think the Pokemon company, not Nintendo, was the one who sued them, but it was a lot of money, like a lot. Yeah,
well, I mean, the thing is like Nintendo in my mind. I don't even care anymore. Like, and that bugs me to say out loud. It's like, it's been 4 years of the Switch, which is awesome. I love my Switch.
It's a great console. I think
it's a great console.
Nintendo's ever made.
No, absolutely. And it was what I suggested that the Wii should have been a long time ago. It's like, no, the 3D, like, and they're still supporting the 3DS, by the way, which is,
not as much though. Not as much.
No, but what they've got to do is finally like, instead of this OLED Switch, which is just stupid.
I'm probably going to get it, though, to be honest with you.
Oh, my God, RJ. Save your money, man.
Well, why? It's exactly what I need, though. Bigger screen. It's got everything I wanted.
But it's not. It doesn't have better processing power?
That we know of. I mean,
no, none of that. No, goalpost moving here, buddy. You don't need, like, the OLED is cool. But at the same time, you're going to get the same
result. Makes a big difference, though. Like, I got the Vita with the OLED compared to like the one with the LED. It's a massive difference.
Well,
like,
I mean, look,
the smallest pixels look good.
I would really hope that like Sony would pull their head out of their ass and find a way to resurrect the Vita, because I think
they need to make another portable system.
No, they need to do it and support it is what they need to do. And they tried. They really tried with the launch of the PlayStation 4, because the Vita was allowed to be a secondary screen and you could play it remotely, right? That was like the remote link. Mm-hmm. And I actually bought a Vita before the PS4 came out because I wanted to do it. And I fell in love with the Vita. Like I had a PSP. I preferred my DS kind of at the time because I just preferred the games on the DS. And none of my friends had a PSP. And then I had two PSPs and they both were stolen out of my room, which is really fucking weird, but whatever. And, but like, you know, the Vita was a great little system. Like the Killzone Mercenary was fantastic, by the way. So was Unit 13.
That's a great game, yeah.
Unit 13 from Zipper Interactive, the guys behind SOCOM, was pretty awesome. I love that game quite a bit.
And Uncharted, there's a lot of, what was it, Golden
Lost, yeah. The Uncharted game on there was good. There was one, it was like, I think it was called like One Bullet or something like that. And it was like, or he had like, it was a zombie shooter game, which is really fun. And it was like a cheap little knockoff game. The thing is, the Vita had a lot going for it, and it still does have a lot going for it. There's still homebrews that are happening for it.
It's a shame they didn't support it the way they should have.
They should have support. Yeah.
Plus the memory card thing was stupid.
Well, that's the thing. So, no, go back to the PSP. I mean, when you look at like the Sony data, you know, like when you wanted to get a PSP, you had to get that specific, you know, I forget the name of the memory card, but it's the same problem. The same problem that they had on that was the memory card was like this. And this is back with the PSP before, like, you know, if you wanted a 1 gigabyte memory card, it was going to run you over $100.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember getting my PSP and like getting a 512 megabyte memory card and like loading like 3 episodes of like the Spider-Man 90s cartoon on there that I'd found online. So
I remember they used to sell like those little like proprietary discs of like movies and stuff for the PSP. Remember that?
Yeah. The UMD discs.
Oh yeah, UMD.
And if I find them for a while there, I'd find them at the Dollar Tree. And if I found them, I would buy them. You know, I would buy, like, I have like Secondhand Lions, which is a fantastic movie, and a few other films. Let's see here. Cylon Scotty here says, just homebrew your 3DS and use ROMs. PSP 2. I still play my PSP every week, mostly SNES games. I would prefer, like, I mean, why not play like actual PSP games? You know?
Play Advent Children, Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, or or what is it? Shifty Gizmir says, if you have a Wii U, hold on to it because it's so hard to find the replacement parts for the gamepad. I have my Wii U in my drawer over here. I have it.
Can I have it?
I've got I think I've got like Legend of Zelda, Wind Waker, Super Smash Bros. What was the one that came out for the Wii U? 4. It wasn't 4. It was like Melee or something.
No, it was 4. It was called
4?
all he did was call it Super Smash Bros. For Wii U.
Oh, okay. I have that, and I've got like Hyrule Warriors, and like those are all unopened. They're unopened, right? Because I got them, I just never played them. I was saving them too. I'm like, one day some Nintendo nerd is going to offer me a lot for those.
How much for the Wii U and Wind Waker? That's all I want. Because Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are still not on the Switch.
Yeah. So you got that PS5, right?
Yeah, I still got it.
I'm saying we could trade, dog.
I don't know if I want to trade for a PlayStation 5 though.
I'm just like, also I have the Xbox Series S, which you can emulate a lot of stuff on there too. I gotta emulate.
Yeah.
I've watched the videos on how to do it.
Yeah, you think Nintendo's still gonna crack down on this kind of stuff? You would just assume they're gonna
Oh
relax.
yeah. Nah, dude, they're gonna because it cuts it. And look, Nintendo and Disney have really one thing in common. They love to resell you shit you've already bought.
And they love to abuse the copyright system, especially in regards to like their IP.
Yeah.
They look like the Mickey Mouse copyright stuff, like all that debacle.
Oh, I know, right? The real Logan Masker asks, do you think Gina Carano will do a big movie since the Star Wars incident? No.
She's going to be the female Kevin Sorbo.
Yeah, I'm waiting for her to find God.
Or maybe more accurate terms, the female Dean Cain.
I'm waiting for her to like find and we'll show you. Like, here's the thing. Hold on, Dean. I'll show you guys. Did you guys see was it the Hedgehog movie he was in?
No, but speaking of Dean Cain, what do you think of the controversy about Captain America? That was all over Fox News.
I saw something about that, but like,
yeah, because in one of the newest comics, he apparently Captain America was questioning the meaning of the American dream, saying he no longer believed in it. Like, oh my God, Captain America's getting woke. He doesn't believe in the American dream anymore. They're taking it away. Like they want to take away our cherry pies. I'm like, he's always had doubts about the American dream. He's always been political and questioned the U.S. government. That's part of the character. Like, there was an issue where he literally found like Richard Nixon, who killed himself before revealing himself to be like an evil, like mastermind behind this like dangerous plot or something. Like it's always been political. It's Captain America.
Jesus.
Like him having doubts about the American dream is not that unusual. It's not going woke. It's just
I know the thing. Look, here's the thing, man. It's like anti SJWs have killed the term woke, like feminists have killed the term sexist.
But my question is, why is that stuff all over Fox News? Like, why are they talking about it?
Because they've got nothing else. Literally, they've got nothing else because they know that the left cares about accountability. The left does care about accountability. But the left also overdoes accountability. There are people out there that argue there's no such thing as cancel culture. There's accountability culture. No, fuck that. You're wrong. There's cancel culture. All right. There's absolutely cancel culture because people from their armchairs, like generally speaking, the people at home who try to go, oh, you should fire this person. And you get people actually to lose their jobs and lose their livelihood. That is canceling them. And that's preventing them from even being able to remotely find work. Do you ever hear the story of Justine Sacco?
No.
So Justine Sacco was flying from Heathrow Airport to Australia. So London to Australia. Before she got on her flight, and she jokingly tweeted out, on my way to Africa, Hope I don't get AIDS. LOL, just kidding, I'm white. Now, that is a very dumb thing to say. And she deserves to be mocked heavily for it because it's a very uncouth joke. But BuzzFeed got a hold of that, and BuzzFeed started tracking the plane. And you could have gone, I think it was like whereisjustine.com during the duration of the flight.
Are you serious?
They were tracking it in real time. During this time, during the 12-hour flight, they found her employer. They contacted her employer. They got her fired from her job as she was mid-flight. She had no way of knowing any of this because the internet was down. There was no internet on the flight back then. They were digging into every aspect of her life. They were trying to cancel her. You could literally watch them cancel this woman in real time. So much so that when she landed in Australia, someone who had been following this in Australia went to the airport just to try to get a glimpse of her and like capture her expression when she learned that her whole life was over based on a tweet joke she had sent 12 hours earlier, and the internet came down on her like a god, like a pissed off god. That's cancel culture. Should she have said it? No. Like, give her a chance to apologize for an uncouth joke. You know, how many times do we fire off things on Twitter without thinking about it? I do it all the time. You know, you got to think about that stuff, you know, but now but that is true. There is cancel culture, and Dean Cain is a fucking moron. However,
here's the funny thing. I've met Dean Cain multiple times. He is a very nice man. He was very kind to me. He's very cool, but some of the stuff he says is so stupid.
Well, he was in this movie called Andy the Talking Hedgehog with Tara Reid. And here's the thing with this, right? He has said, like, you know, people have given him shit for this. And he's like, yeah, but did you see the RV that this movie bought me? So, like, he knows that this movie is terrible, but he did it for the paycheck and he bought an RV with it. So, like, on that, I give him credit.
Well, good for him, man. If he's living the dream, he's getting what he wants out of life. And
I really wonder.
Good for him.
I really wonder what his residuals are on over there on for Superman.
By the way, there's just so much wrong with this cover. I don't even know where to start. Like the Photoshop with the floating heads.
Oh yeah, and it's like a modeling photo of Tara Reid. It looks like Tara Reid from like the American Pie era.
Yeah. And it's then like if they would have like showed anything lower, would have got a little too raunchy for a kids movie.
Pretty much, yeah. You know, and then like some random girl on the side there, like just like watching this hedgehog ride a horse. It's a magical good time. I just kind of hope that's put on his tombstone when he dies.
They should have put a magical good time if you're high.
Well, you never know. Movies to watch while you're stoned. But yeah, so they did that. That's Dean Cain in a nutshell, and he's just, you know, he's psychotic. But the thing is, though, it's like, look, okay, Logan here says Gina didn't deserve what happens to her. Mark Hamill has said rude things, and Harrison Ford. Here's the difference, though. All right, what Gina was told to shut the hell up. And Gina refused to shut the hell up. Now, you can argue freedom of speech, First Amendment, all that jazz. She has the right to say what she wants, and that's true. But freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequences. And while I don't support her firing, that is a byproduct of what happened. It is a byproduct of all that stuff. You know, because, oh yeah, I see the hat. You know, it's like, it's a byproduct of her coming out and providing not only, you know, jokes mocking trans people about the pronoun stuff. Regardless of where she felt bullied into it or not, like read the room, you know, who, you know, like you are a person who's in a position of power and you're kind of acting like a dick. Like, how about stop it? Just don't respond to it. You know, you can't sit there. If you are a person who is a celebrity, who's insulated in Hollywood, you cannot argue that you're being bullied on Twitter. It doesn't work that way. Cause like just turn it off, walk away, go someplace else. But then she started posting about like election misinformation and blocking people who were correcting her on the election misinformation that she was spewing. Then it was also like masks and vaccines. And then there was the fucking stupid thing about being a conservative today is like being a Jew in 1939 fucking Germany. And you don't say that kind of stuff. You don't say that sort of thing. You could think it all you want. I don't care, but you don't say it. So that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And at the time she did that, I'm pretty sure she was acting out of spite anyway. because Disney hadn't renewed her contract. Her agents are trying to renegotiate for her to get a bigger paycheck for Rangers of the New Republic or Mandalorian Season 3. And then she threw it all away to become what? A coupon over at dailywire.com? It's just like, stop it.
Yeah.
So it's just, that's the whole point. Like, you know, Music Man here's right. Like, if she just would have shut up, she would have been fine. Hold on. Okay, Logan here says, I'll admit she edged it on 100%, but I'm against her firing. But maybe, you know, maybe they'll give us a Watto show instead of a Newt Gunray show. I don't know, man. Both of those characters are terrible.
I would actually watch a Watto show. But the Watto show needs to be him meeting Darth Vader. You know, Annie.
Annie, look, no hard feelings, right? Like, I bought you for like 2, you know, like credits. It was very, you know, the times were very different. I only owned you and your mother. I eventually gave her a freedom before she was killed by the Sand People. The Sand People, right? They take the terrorists. You know, like, you killed them. I heard about that. You got your revenge, right? You know, it was like your 9/11. But no, Annie, listen, I make you
That's
deal.
terrifying to think that 9/11 happened in the Star Wars universe.
Well, if you think about it, like the opening of Attack of the Clone. No, I'm kidding. What was it? If anything, the 9/11 of the Star Wars universe could either be Alderaan or a repeat 9/11 would be when Starkiller Base like straight took out Mon Mothma's planet, you know, like that entire star system. So,
Yeah.
but you know, but then again, it's like, did we find weapons of mass destruction on the Death Star? Yeah, we kind of did, actually. We kind of did.
By the way, I was going to mention in regards to the Sand People, I think in one of the latest comics, they actually revealed that the reason the Sand People killed Anakin's mother is because Count Dooku hired them to do so.
Oh, that's
Like, it was motivation to like really push him towards the dark side and like really like just get back at Anakin because Count Dooku and him are like this really back and forth and stuff.
yeah.
So-
That's such a weird thing, though. It's like that comic that implies that Sheev Palpatine is the one who impregnated Shmi Skywalker.
Oh yeah, use the Force to like make her
Yeah,
pregnant.
yeah. Like, it's all like, yes, I'm going to. I can't do an emperor very well. I'm just gonna do it like
Farland.
I'm just gonna do it like Watto's voice then. Oh, Shimi. Oh, I use the Force. Oh, you don't know that I'm in you right now, modifying your uterus and giving you my seed, but it's not. It's metaphorical. You're going to have a baby, and that baby's going to be mine because I own you. Wait, no, that's the wrong thing to say.
Oh man,
I like Watto.
we're all going to hell.
No, there was an old theory, because remember in Phantom Menace when Shmi Skywalker was like, "There's no father." One day I just woke up and I was pregnant. You know, like,
Yeah.
like, okay, like, hold on here, like, and she didn't even
okay.
question it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing I don't get about
She's
that.
like,
she
I got pregnant. Oh,
she
well.
truly believed, like, yeah, it's like one day I woke up and I was like, I was pregnant, and she's like, I have no idea how it happened. There was no father. It just immaculate conception, and then I got him, and he's really good at building fucking robots. Like, I don't know how that happened. So, like, you know, I mean, that's the thing. Like, who was Anakin's father? It was left up to interpretation. But like, also, then my question becomes, was Shmi Skywalker sexually assaulted, and then she just like mentally blocked out the whole ordeal, and she just woke up one day, she's like, I'm pregnant. I don't know who the dad is. I don't know how this happened, but let's just roll with it. You know, like, what if she was protecting herself from, you know, what if Anakin is really the byproduct of rape?
Oh no! Please don't. Please don't.
I mean, that's like, now it puts an entirely new spin on the Star Wars franchise, because, you know, there's a bunch of scum and villainy in Mos Eisley, right? And did Shmi ever go to Mos Eisley? Did Watto ever send her? You know, Shmi, I need you to go to Mos Eisley. I need some power converters, because Tashi Station is all out. But don't go to the cantina because you could find.
Yeah, Greedo was there roofing the girls.
Yeah.
Greedo's there like, I'm gonna put a little something in your drink. Don't worry about it.
I'm just. Let's see. Hold on. Ray should have been Shimi, causing a Terminator loop in the Star Wars.
There was a rumor actually that she was Shimi or descendant of Shimi. I'm like, how would that have worked?
I don't know. I'll tell you this though. This is what I wanted out of Rise of Skywalker. My friends over at the Popcast, who do really, really, really great stuff, by the way. You guys should check them out, like Sci-Fi. They did a video before the release of the Rise of Skywalker, speculating about where Rey could have come from. And what they basically figured out that she was like a clone of Palpatine. But this is before we figured out, before like the whole she's his granddaughter, which isn't really a thing, because if anything, she's his daughter biologically.
Yeah, it's weird.
But you know what? They didn't want to confuse people like that Tom Arnold song from the Stupids, I Am My Own Grandpa. That's a real song, by the way. You should look it up.
I will have to do that.
There's a movie with Tom Arnold called The Stupids, and he sings a song called I Am My Own Grandpa. And that's the thing. It's from like the mid 90s. Anyway, like what they speculate.
That Futurama episode, Roswell.
Yeah. That kind of took from that. That was a great episode. I love that. It's all like, oh my God, I had sex with my grandmother. like, hey there, step bro. What are you doing? Yeah, that's such a great episode. Hold on. Logan here says Watto is an interesting character. They should have given him more screen time. I mean, like Newt Gunroy. He's kind of and Jar Jar. They're kind of stereotypes. I mean,
the prequels were kind of racist.
The Phantom Menace is kind of racist. They cleaned it up a bit in the sequels. I heard George had to pay reparations though, so he learned his lesson.
Yeah, you can't visit certain countries anymore.
But damn the man, how do you like these cookies, sugar? Oh, Futurama needs to come back. Anyway, so my friends were saying like, look, in the Battle of Jakku, which was the final battle of the the rebellion versus, or the New Republic versus the Empire. And so in the battle, because the Emperor had cloning stations, right? Had like basically cloning stations all around the galaxy. And so the idea is essentially that there was one on Jakku. And they were speculating that during this final battle, it like, whoever was there like escaped, and like there was a child, and that the child was Rey. And that Rey was a pure clone of the Emperor, but a female clone of the Emperor. And she was raised. So what her memory of the Junkers leaving was not actually her parents, but people who she remembered as her parents, because those are the people who found her. And they just found her while maybe scavenging or something or whatever. And they just wanted to sell it for fucking beer money. And they bailed. And so she had grown up not knowing that she was an emperor, like a clone of Palpatine. And everything else. And I think that was actually like a much cooler take on the story. I think that would have been a much cooler way of approaching it than like, you are my granddaughter. Although not really, biologically speaking, you are my offspring. Your mother was pretty hot though, so I would have totally hit that. I understand why my son went for her. She was Jodie Cotter. She was pretty attractive. Have you ever seen the show called Killing, what's the name of that show? Killing Eve. That's the show. Yeah, good show. I can't do Seth MacFarlane, but that would be the joke that he does.
Yeah. That's 2 nights in a row we talk about Seth MacFarlane and Star Wars, by the way.
Because he is fantastic.
Oh,
Seth MacFarlane is great. I'm just saying, it's like, I think, that particular pitch for Star Wars would have been a lot better than what we got.
Probably.
It's like at this point, I don't quite know what JJ was thinking with the Rise of Skywalker. I do. I get what he was thinking. But after Rian Johnson and The Last Jedi, it's like, holy crap. So, let's see here. If you think Jar Jar is annoying, check out Jar Jar redubbed here on YouTube. a simple voice change makes him much more tolerable. Yeah, but I'll tell you this though, man. It's like I kind of like over the last 2 decades, I've kind of come to like dig Jar Jar, like to dig Ahmed Best's voice. You know, if you were to change his voice, it's like no. You know what I mean? It's like no. You just don't. No, it's all good. You don't do that.
Yeah.
Because like it's iconic. You may not like it, but it's iconic. It's recognizable and stuff. And Ahmed Best having gone through that dark period of people bashing on him and being really, really, really low has now been embraced by the Star Wars community. And I would say in large part due to the Clone Wars animated show, where he got the ability to have more screen time and flesh out the character, even though in some episodes he was way more annoying than he was in The Phantom Menace. But still, you got more screen time with him, and that allowed more people to be okay with him. So no, I am fine with Ahmed Best being Ahmed Best and doing this role.
Yeah.
So okay. Let's see. Do you guys believe that Jar Jar Binks being a Sith Lord theory? That was a really fun theory.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Do you think Jar Jar had a bigger role in the next 2 prequel movies that just kind of got cut out? You know, changed that.
I mean, in 2000, was it Attack of the Clones? They basically made him like the Dan Quayle of space politics. So, that was pretty funny. Cause it's like, you have one job, Jar Jar, and you fucked it up. You gave it, you gave it to, what's it called? You booted out Terrence Stamp.
Yeah.
So. What? So anyway, yeah. And so there's.
What, you find something?
No, I just came across a photo of a guy I know, and it's just, oh my god, like he's kind of. It's just a thing. I just saw it on Twitter, and I'm like, what in the hell? Yeah, it's like, yeah. Anyway, so it's all dumb. But on that note, I do actually, I'm going to wrap it up because I need to go lay down. I probably won't get to Black Widow tonight just because it's already so late, but I got to get to Bad Batch. I haven't watched that either. So
it's a pretty good episode. I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah. I definitely want to see it. But anyway, I appreciate RJ coming on and hanging out with me. I always enjoy our chats. You know that.
Yeah, absolutely. Always a pleasure being here.
Yeah, thank you everyone who tuned in. And remember, guys, I didn't get to this in the beginning, but if you do want to become a channel member, you can get your name on this list right here, help the channel out. And then I'm going to be giving away Indiana Jones 40 Years of Raiders Life magazine. And I know it's a magazine, you may not think it's a good idea, but trust me, it's cool. And yeah, I will talk to everybody. I'll be on probably tomorrow night, hopefully having seen Black Widow and just everything else I need to watch. All right, guys. Yeah, thank you again. I'll talk to you all later. Have yourself a great night.